It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
the Mixed Martial Arts Hour back in your life on this Monday, August 29th, 2016. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani, back inside our New York City studio. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was certainly an entertaining one as far as mixed martial arts action is concerned. The highlight, of course, Saturday night, the UFC back in Vancouver for the fourth time. First time was UFC 115. Second time, UFC 131. Third time, UFC 174. Fourth time, this past Saturday, UFC on Fox 21. Three major takeaways from that event, in my opinion. First off, Demian Maia continues to impress, continues to dominate his opponents in a way that we have rarely seen. This is a guy who, when he came into the UFC, he was obviously very well versed in the jiu-jitsu game, and perhaps it took him some time to evolve as a mixed martial artist. He hasn't gone away from jiu-jitsu. Obviously, we've seen that once again on Saturday night, but he has really become, as far as one discipline is concerned, a master at it. And he continues to beat up everyone on the ground. And the most impressive part of the whole damn thing is he continues to take very little damage in his fights. Now he's won 6 in a row. He submits Carlos Condit in less than 2 minutes. And in my opinion, he cements his place atop the very best in the 170-pound division. So it seems like they're going to do Wonderboy versus Woodley next. And then he's next. He wants to wait. And the emotion that he showed afterwards, the emotion that Carlos Condit showed, I mean, it really was, as the old ABC Wide World of Sports show used to say at the top of its program back in the day, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. You see Demian Maia crying because Condit means so much to him, because winning over Condit means so much to him, because beating Condit like that is so darn important to him. He is literally bawling as Carlos Condit is trying to figure out his career and where he goes from here. Condit said afterwards he doesn't know if he belongs in the UFC. That is 100% untrue. His heart may not be into it. His mind may not be into it, but he certainly belongs in the UFC. And this is a guy who was, in my opinion, a scorecard or two away from becoming UFC welterweight champion back in January. It's still the fight of the year, in my opinion. I thought he beat Robbie Lawler on January 2nd. So it just goes to show how cruel this sport can be. And now here he is questioning whether he'll ever fight again. Once you start thinking about that, once you start contemplating your future, maybe it's best to walk away. One thing's for certain, probably won't see him for quite some time. And the next time we hopefully see Demian Maia fight, it will be for the welterweight title. Also of note, Anthony Pettis drops down to 145. He submits Charles Oliveira. His 3-fight losing streak is over. What a weight lifted off his shoulders. What a great moment for Anthony Pettis there on Saturday night. And then how about Paige Vanzant? Wow, unbelievable. Stealing the show, flying switch kick. She hasn't fought since December. She goes and does the Dancing with the Stars show, finishes second, probably should have won the whole thing. And then in her return to the UFC on national television, she knocks out Beck Rawlings with a flying switch kick. What a year for Paige Vanzant. Friday, Bellator had an event. Bellator 160, Benson Henderson, now the number one contender in the Bellator lightweight division. An unfortunate ending. Patricio Pitbull breaking his fibula in the fight. Benson wins, gets his first Bellator win. What else was on that card? AJ Mckee remains undefeated. Joey Davis looked very good in his Bellator debut. Georgi Karakhanyan knocking out Bubba Jenkins. Like I said, it was a very busy weekend, and maybe the biggest news of all, it was made official on Friday. Rory MacDonald has officially signed with Bellator. And you know what's interesting? Tyron Woodley, Demian Maia, even Wonderboy Thompson. What do they all have in common? Rory MacDonald is what they have in common. The last man to defeat Tyron Woodley, Rory MacDonald. The last man to defeat Demian Maia, Rory MacDonald. The man who Wonderboy beat to get his title shot, Rory MacDonald. Well, he's headed to Bellator. So much to discuss on this show. It is a stacked one. Can't wait to get into it. So let's run down the lineup and get to our first guest. Can't wait to talk to her as well. 4 o'clock, we'll be joined in studio by Luke Rockhold, who is, of course, coming off that loss to Michael Bisping. There's a ton going on in his life. He'll be in studio at 4 o'clock. 3:30, Michael Chandler will be in studio. The Bellator lightweight champion will be right here. So we got 2 in-studio guests today. 3:05, Josh Barnett, who faces Andrei Arlovsky this Saturday in Hamburg, Germany, he'll stop by live from Hamburg. The aforementioned Rory MacDonald will stop by at 2:45 to talk about why he decided to sign with Bellator. Max Holloway, who's one of the very best at 145, we'll talk to him about Pettis, talk to him about what's next for him. He'll stop by at 2:25. AJ Mckee, a great character, the mercenary, the son of longtime vet Antonio Mckee, will stop by at 2:05. Rashad Evans will stop by at 1:45, talk about his future. And Rafael dos Anjos, in one of his first, if not his first interview since losing the belt back in July, will stop by at 1:25, talk to him about Conor, his fight against Tony Ferguson. So much to talk to RDA about. But first, we got to start this show one way and one way only. She is still in Vancouver, about to head off to the airport. Very kind enough to join us right before she does that. She won big on Saturday, as I said. Flying switch kick, Paige Vanzant. Massive win for her. It's a highlight clip that will be replayed over and over and over again until the end of time. And she joins us right now via the magic of Skype, I believe. Or is it via the magic of phone? There she is, Paige Vanzant. How are you, Paige?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, what a pleasure. Where are you right now with those black drapes in back of you?
This is still my hotel room.
Oh, my gosh.
We got a good setup.
You're such a pro, Paige. Even when you come on via Skype now, you're just top notch, A+ all the way. First class. I appreciate that. Okay. How many times have you watched that clip over and over again? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, a lot. I've gone through and watched it a lot, just from every angle, kind of seeing how I did it. It was a really cool highlight. I'm gonna definitely remember that for a long time.
Is that something that you worked on in training? Were you looking for that?
It was actually. That was something I was looking for in the fight. All my corners it was decided that I was gonna get her tired in the first round. I knew I would have world-class cardio. That's something that Justin Buchholz really pushes on us in training. So get her really tired in the first round, use everything in my arsenal, kind of see what would open up, see how she would react. I was trying to fake a few shots, trying to just kind of test her out. And then I was able to see she kept dropping her hand, and that left side was open. And Justin told me, left side's open, throw the kick. And I threw it, landed it, and got the knockout.
So at the beginning of the second round, as you may have heard, Brian Stantz says that he heard in between the first and second that Justin was telling you to stop flying around, stop throwing that crazy stuff. Is that in fact what he said? Because almost on cue, you land the flying switch kick. So did he say that or not?
No, that's not what he said.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but it definitely, he wasn't telling me to stop using all my tools. I'll have to go back and kind of see what the corner said, but I know he kept telling me that left side's open, throw the left kick. And I don't know, he's the one who kind of told me, and it was nice to have a coach talk about how athletic I really was. And that's something that he reiterated, is that you're one of the top athletes in the gym. You have all these tools in your arsenal, and I haven't used them before, and I throw them and I land them in sparring, but I go out to the cage and I end up just rushing forward and trying to close the distance and not really effectively striking. And for this fight, I definitely wanted to be a little bit more effective. I knew she'd have high-level boxing. I wanted to stay out of that range, and use a few more tools that I land in sparring, and I landed it there.
What were you thinking when you sat down in between the first and second? Because looking at Twitter, a lot of people were scoring that first round for her and saying that you seemed like you were trying to figure things out, maybe shake off the cobwebs. Were you disappointed in that first round?
No, I wasn't at all. That was kind of the plan, is wear her out, circle. I kind of looked at her over in her corner. She did look tired after that first round. And, I kind of did exactly what I wanted to do. I saw exactly how she was reacting to everything that I was throwing, and threw a lot of leg kicks. I knew that's how I was going to set up the over-the-top kick. And, I feel like the first round went perfectly. Went to my corner. I was really pissed because she on accident, it was just kind of like when we were clenched up, she came up and headbutted me, and I was pissed. I got headbutted, and I mentioned that in the corner. But no, I feel like the first round for me, maybe I was down on points, but I kind of set up exactly what I wanted to.
Is that where the black eye comes from?
Yeah.
Oh my! I didn't notice that. Yeah, I didn't notice that on Saturday. Did you cover that up, or did it only emerge afterwards?
Usually when I bruise, it shows up the second day.
Oh, wow. That is interesting. When you landed that kick and she fell, were you because you still had to sort of finish her off on the ground? Were you like, oh man, this is too good of a kick. Like I need to finish this because it will be almost a waste?
Well, I think actually after I landed, I was just so like, holy cow, I just landed it. It took a little bit too long for it to register that I need to like swarm, but that's something we obviously drill is when you drop somebody, swarm them and get the finish. So I hit her. I was like, all right, move in, and just got on top of her and finished the fight.
Are you sparring a lot leading up to your fights? And if so, did you hit people with that? Did you drop people with that kick?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I wouldn't say I dropped.
Okay.
We use headgear and like shin guards, but I landed it really, really well on one of my teammates. This poor guy Nico, and it happened to be Reebok was in there filming for the day, and they got it filmed. Me
Oh,
just
sick.
hitting him with the same move, and it landed perfectly. I hit it on one of the girls that I spar with, and I've just been drilling it. During open workouts, one of my guys, trainers, he wanted to throw that just to show it off during open workouts. And I was like, no, I want to save that. I really want to save that. Let's not show it. And it ended up working out.
Absolutely, yeah. The secret weapon. You can't unleash that beforehand. I noted before the fight that in talking to some people, no one was doubting you per se, but they did say in the back of their mind, like, man, I wish he had a little more time post Dancing with the Stars. Like this is coming quick. And of course, it was a big stage on Fox, so it was important to have you on the card. But did you feel the same way in hindsight? Did you wish you had a little more time leading up to the fight after the show?
I did. I did wish I had just maybe 2 more weeks would have been perfect. But at the same time, I knew the time that I had to get ready for it. UFC said, I want you on the Canada card. So I said, all right, I'm going to Canada, and just kind of made it work. I got back into the gym, and I worked really, really hard. And I feel like I've worked harder than ever for the last 4 weeks of this fight camp. I turned it up. I really feel like I pushed it, and I got ready for the fight. By the time I got to Canada, I felt really ready.
You mentioned in the post-fight interview that it was one of, if not your hardest training camps. In fact, you considered pulling out. Why was it so difficult?
There's just a lot of factors that were kind of, one, frustrating. Two, I took the fight before I had even stepped back into the gym.
Oh, wow.
That was kind of a secret. I was trying not to let everybody know, but I just took the fight. UFC said they wanted me on the card, so I said okay. And got back into the gym, trained really hard. I had my corners kind of worked out, and all of a sudden neither of them could get into Canada for various reasons. But Canada didn't want them here. And 4 days before I'm supposed to leave for Canada, I got a new corner. I actually had a teammate who was supposed to be on this card, Josh Emmett, and I was just going to use one of his corners. Then all of a sudden Josh gets hurt and he's not going anymore. So his corners weren't going anymore. So then I had to ask them to come anyway. It was just like a lot of annoying things here and there.
Any injuries?
No, actually, this is a great fight camp. No injuries going into it and no injuries coming out.
Wow. Were you freaking out when it's not your usual corner or the ones that you had been preparing for? Like mentally, what does that do to you?
It's just a switch up. It's definitely not a problem for me because I have had different corners for actually almost every single one of my fights. I've only had like one consistent corner, and it's my Coach Owen, and that's pretty much been my only consistent corner. I've used him 3 times, and then prior to that, I don't think I've had anybody repeat. Wow. It's just kind of worked out that way, and it's something that you don't rely on. And I mentioned that actually in this fight that this is the first time I actually listened to my corners for real, and I could hear them, and I threw things when they told me to throw them. And that's kind of how I got that left kick is Justin said left's open and threw it. So it was great. And I feel like that's me maturing as a fighter. I'm going to start using some consistent corners and really listen to what they have to say.
Do you feel like you were a little rusty in the first round, like because of the long layoff and all the other stuff that you were doing? You weren't in the gym while doing the show. Of course, you were very active, but not doing MMA training. Did you feel like you needed some time to get going in that first round?
No, I didn't actually. My cardio, I would say for this fight, was better than any other. I was running almost like 20 miles a week getting ready for this fight, just trying to get my weight perfect, my cardio perfect. I knew that I was going to have better cardio just because I was pushing the pace so hard. And for this fight, that's something that me and my coaches have been really, really working on, is me not just charging forward and rushing them. And we knew that was what Beck was expecting. I watched a lot of her interviews. She kind of knew that I was going to rush forward and close the distance. I did see in her prior fights, she's a veteran, I've watched her fight for a while. She does have very good clinch work, and she's very strong when you close distance and get in that boxing range. So I really wanted to stay out of it, circle a lot, and it just kind of worked out.
Every fight is important. Every fight in the UFC is important, but because of all the attention that you received off the Dancing with the Stars show, did you kind of feel a little more pressure this time to prove that you're not just, some celebrity reality star, whatever, that you're at your core still a fighter, you still care about this, you still want to be one of the best, a champion? Like, did you feel like you had to almost prove yourself again?
For me, I feel like every fight, it's not that I have to prove anybody wrong. It's just that I have to prove myself right. And I had to go in there and prove to myself that I belonged in there, and prove that I was so much more than just coming off of Dancing with the Stars. And it was definitely just pressure I put on myself, especially knowing I was going to have a lot of people watching coming from Dancing with the Stars. So it was just pressure from myself, and I wanted to perform really well, and I was able, I think I have the most finishes for the strawweight. So that was like another awesome thing that happened. So
yes. Amazing. And also, one thing that wasn't really talked about, because the last thing we saw you in was Dancing with the Stars, you're coming off a pretty tough loss. That was your last fight. Mentally, you had to almost get over that hump as well. Were you thinking about, like, just to get your confidence back? That was not a great night for you. You handled it like a pro, all class, like a real professional, but you still had to get back on track. Was that playing tricks on you at all going into this fight?
Actually, I just stayed really focused for this fight, and I had to completely forget about that fight because it is in the past. Learn from it, but don't dwell on it. And I know that I was a much better athlete for this fight. Physically, mentally, everything was better for this fight. And I had to go in there with confidence. And no matter what happens in your last fight, even this fight, for my next one, I'm going to have to forget about this fight and reevaluate my opponent and just move forward.
Did you notice a difference in the way the fans reacted to you, Twitter afterwards? I see a ton of celebrities tweeting about you, being on Fox. Like, did this feel different, especially coming off what you did back in, May, April, and the success on the show?
A little bit. I felt a little different, but at the same time, it just feels like I belong here. It felt like I'm finally back in the octagon. It's a different feeling than anything I've ever done, and it's awesome that I have so much support. And I feel like, even a bigger platform, because I do have so many amazing people tweeting me and saying congratulations, which feels really special. But at the same time, it's just another win in the UFC, and that's special in itself.
Best celebrity tweet you got? Which one sticks out?
My favorite is probably from Nick Jonas.
Oh, you're a Jonas Brother fan.
I'm a
Nick Jonas. Okay, fair enough. Do the Jonas Brothers still exist as a group? Do they still perform together?
I have no idea.
Okay. Have you ever met Nick Jonas?
I haven't, no, but I met Demi Lovato, and that was cool. She texted me and said congratulations, so I know she knows him really well.
Wow. Demi Lovato all over the MMA space. Luke Rockhold dating her. I don't know if you heard the news.
Really?
Yeah. TMZ broke it.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. We'll see.
Okay. Well, actually, Luke is going to be on the show later, so we can ask him. I'm sure you'll be tuning in.
Yeah, I want to know about that.
Okay. I like the way you perked up at that little factoid. Do you feel like he's not good enough for her? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to say that, but I did hear that I was dating an NFL player once I had never met before, so you just never know.
Fair enough. J.J. Watt, right? Wasn't that one? Yeah, that was crazy. I think he put that out there because he wanted to be linked with you. That scumbag.
I never had actually met him in person, and then I found out I went on a date with him.
Unbelievable.
Who knew?
I bet after the show you had all these like PR people reaching out to you, trying to set you up with their clients and things like that, right? Doesn't that happen?
No.
That doesn't happen?
Good.
I hear that's what happens in Hollywood. Like, managers try to set their client up with right?
That actually is how it works, which is totally weird. But I mean, I don't know if you know Mike Roberts. He just replies back. No.
That's a good manager.
doesn't like it. He just says no.
I like that.
So, yeah, good.
So no injuries coming off, and you said afterwards that you want to come back in December, right?
Yeah, and no injuries. It's perfect timing. I don't know if I'll get on that card. I'm sure. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel really good. Of course, I do have a few. I was really excited after the fight, obviously, but I do have a few like fun things in the works right now. So hopefully those pan out and get a good timeline for a fight in there.
What do we got? Last time, if you recall, you were in studio. You held back on us. You didn't tell us about Dancing with the Stars. The next day, you go on some show called Good Morning America that was like way lower as far as popularity is concerned. And then you break it there. So give us the goods. Come on.
I know. I really wish I could. But a few more maybe like, I think I would be in New York. Maybe in New York. So, I mean, if it happens, I'll come your way and
Thank you.
We'll share it on the show.
Okay, fair enough. Was there any chance, given how well you did and how popular you became, did you ever consider not returning to MMA? Did you ever consider not fighting again?
No, not at all. And I think that's the funniest thing about the whole experience. What I find humorous is, me and Antonio became really good friends on Dancing with the Stars, and nobody ever asked him if he was going to leave the NFL and become a famous actor. That would have never been thrown out there. But for me, it was everyone's like, "Oh, Paige is going to leave for Hollywood. She's never coming back." And that wasn't it at all. And I do know that there's a lot of other fighters who have had much longer layoffs than I did, and didn't get to be on an amazing show like Dancing with the Stars and get those opportunities. So for me, I'm a fighter first. I just happened to stay on Dancing with the Stars until the finale, so it pushed back my next fight, but it all worked out.
Is it possible because, as you alluded to on Thursday, I believe, perhaps you don't get paid as much as Antonio, and you are involved in a very physical sport, and that's why people thought you'd think, you know what, maybe I don't need to do this anymore. I can get paid more to do some acting or whatever?
That could have been the case because that's definitely true. Hollywood pays very well. But I am a fighter first, and hopefully, there is amazing things happening. Conor McGregor just had an amazing payday, and it's about time, and I don't see that as an excessive amount of money with what he's doing. That's about right, and hopefully that starts trickling down, so everybody starts making more money.
Kudos to you for saying that. I feel like Paige of a couple of years ago wouldn't have said that. That felt like sort of a big moment for you. I don't know. I feel like I was like, wow, good for Paige for speaking up, because you certainly deserve it and then some. So I give you a lot of props for that.
Thank you. Yeah, but I just think that we all deserve it. We're all professional athletes. We're fighting at a very, very high level. The UFC, I would compare to the NFL. It's on that same playing field, and hopefully eventually we start seeing the athletes making a little bit more money. So anyone who's coming into the UFC, they make it to the UFC level, can actually make a living off of just fighting for the UFC.
Now here's the big question, and I've been wanting to ask you this for quite some time, but it's been a while since we spoke. What is going on between you and Ronda Rousey? Has the beef been squashed? What's happening here?
I think so. I mean, no, it was just kind of the one little altercation. But no, I have absolutely no hard feelings, no frustrations towards her whatsoever. Whatever happened. Not really sure why or how, but it's over, I think.
No beef as far as you're concerned. If you see her, you'll shake her hand, hug. It's all forgotten.
Yes, it's all forgotten. Us fighters are emotional. I am very, very emotional. So maybe caught her on an off day.
Have you seen or spoke to her since?
No. I mean, even before that, though, we are both sponsored by Reebok, so we'll see each other at Reebok events. And other than that, we kind of have never crossed paths.
Okay.
So, there's just a lot of UFC fighters will cross paths, but we don't really know each other or talk to each other.
But you're not losing sleep over it?
No, definitely not.
So where do we go from here? You leave Vancouver today. They treated you well in Canada, I would imagine?
Canada was amazing. Everybody here is so nice. I feel like just everyone's so nice.
That's right.
But I'm flying from here to Oregon. I'm going to go visit my grandpa. It was his birthday a few days ago, so I'm bringing him back some maple syrup for his birthday, and then back to Sacramento for training.
I like that. And so in between, let's say you get your wish and fight in December, we may see you pop up elsewhere on other projects, other things non-fighting related. Is that the case?
Yes, that's
Oh my.
that's the idea.
Bigger than Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars was pretty big.
Okay.
I Oh, I wouldn't say but who knows? Who
Wow.
knows? I mean, I'm just getting started.
Yes, you are. Is it a done deal or still in the works, this thing that you're talking
No,
about?
everything's still in the works right now. Just a lot of potential things, a few people reaching out, and it's up to my management team to just figure things out on their end, and we'll go from there.
Okay. What a year it has been, huh? I mean, the year isn't over quite yet, but thinking about the way 2015 ended for you with, you're in tears in front of the media, and now look at you riding high. Again, Dancing with the Stars on Fox, nailing a kick like that. That's going to be on every highlight reel about the UFC from now until the end of time. I mean, well deserved. Well done to you. Way to come back and way to prove everyone wrong. What an unbelievable moment. Congratulations, Paige. I know you're headed to the airport, so I really appreciate you joining us today. Wouldn't have been the same without you, so thank you very much for the time. And again, congrats on the big win.
I'll come your way to New York soon.
Deal. Awesome. There she is, Paige Vanzant. Massive win for her on Saturday night in Vancouver. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. I mean, I'm sure you have at this point. What a moment. Unbelievable. What a moment. Flying, switch kick, finishing, Beck Rawlings on the feet. Well, essentially on the ground, but it all started on the feet. Paige Vanzant is a star, and the UFC very lucky to have her right now. Most finishes in the strawweight division as well. The long and storied history of the strawweight division. Okay, let us move along. We are rolling here today. On the phone right now, man who returns to action on November 5th against Tony Ferguson. Last week on this program, we had Tony on the show. This week, we have his opponent, Rafael dos Anjos, joining us right now. Rafael, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, Ariel. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is a pleasure. I said at the top of the show, Rafael, that I thought this was maybe your first interview since your fight against Eddie. Have you done much media since then?
Not at all. My first one.
Did you just kind of feel like you needed a break?
Yeah, I had a break, and I was thinking about my life a little bit, my career. And now I'm back on track. I'm back working hard again on my way to get the belt again.
Yeah, it had been quite some time since you suffered a loss. How long did it take for you to get over it? Or maybe do you feel like you're not quite over it just yet?
No, I'm over it already, I think the loss showed me a lot of things that people think about me and people around me, how they reacted. And I think I'm trying to get a good part of everything bad that happened in my life. And with this fight too, that was a bad moment for me, but I'm able to see a lot of things now that I was kind of hiding before, and it's a good thing. So everything happened for a reason, and God made everything perfect. So I'm learning a lot of lessons.
If you don't mind, what do you mean by that when you say things that you need to change, like lessons and things? What kind of lessons did you learn after that?
Just a second, I'm turning on my car here.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, gonna get on Bluetooth.
Talking to Rafael dos Anjos right now, November 5th, Mexico City. Tony Ferguson, important fight in the lightweight division, putting on his Bluetooth in his car. I believe he's on his way to training. I'm giving a play-by-play. Trains out of King's MMA. Rafael Cordero, head coach. Of course, RDA, the one who started Anthony Pettis' losing streak back at UFC 185. He defeated Anthony Pettis to become the lightweight champion. That was in Dallas, Texas. Defeated Donald Cerrone in Orlando back in December. And then back in July, International Fight Week.
Hello?
Yes, there he is.
Sorry.
No problem. So I asked you about the lessons that you learned.
Yeah, I learned a lot of things, man. For example, with my family, on my family, how the people treat you too, you know. And for each person of my family, there was one kind of lesson. Like for my kids, everybody got sad. My wife too, and it was a big loss for us, especially the way that it went, and in the gym as well. Because people treat you of like one way when you're champion, but when you're not a champion, everything changed. People treat you different. But that was good to know how people really think, and so we can start make adjustment and make some cuts on the near future when I be champion again. So for sure, these people will not be on my side.
Wow, so you cut people out of your life after that fight?
A little bit.
Wow. How many times have you watched it?
Not many, man. Not many. I think on TV, I have it recorded. I haven't watched once, not even once. I watched some highlights on internet, but I'm not really on social media anymore. You know, very little. You know,
How come?
I'm trying to stay away.
Why?
But I didn't watch much, man.
Why no more social media for you?
Man, I think social media is good for promotion, stuff like that. But most of the people are so negative.
Yeah.
People too negative. People just like, if you read the comments, people, it's just too negative, man. People just think so bad, but I prefer stay away of this.
So you don't, you don't care to watch it, and I totally understand that. Of course, you probably have a sense for what went wrong. Like in a nutshell, do you have an idea why you lost that fight? Is there a mistake or two that you think that you made that led to him winning?
Yeah, I think I had a bad night of work. I think just that, you know. When you fighter, when you're not doing good on your work, when you have a work that happens, you lost the fight. And I think Eddie, he had a great day. I had a bad day, but I'm sure I am the best fighter on this division. I am the best fighter in this division, and I will prove it once again. I'm still hungry. I just got caught. My guard was up, my hand was up. I just got caught and punch. And, you know, I had some issues on the weight cut day before, but that's not the excuse. Eddie had a great day, but I'm coming.
Was he tougher than you thought he was? Like the last couple of fights for Eddie Alvarez, we know what he can do, but, they were kind of grinders. He wasn't showing that kind of aggression in his fights. Was he tougher, or maybe did he show something that you weren't expecting in the fight?
No, man, I trained for everybody the same, you know. I knew Eddie has a heavy hand, but thing that happened in my life, you know, and that's for a reason. And, I know my life is under God's supervision. He's watching over me always. And if he let this happen, that was for showing me a lot of things. So he's been showing me a lot of things, and I make it adjust. And like I said, once I get back on the top again, everything will be different.
One thing that has been said this year was you ended the year, last show of 2015, massive win over Cerrone. You're booked to fight against Conor, and then unfortunately you suffer that injury. Nate Diaz steps in. Now we have these two fights. They're making millions of dollars, and maybe Conor is going to fight Eddie. And that's a lot of money that could have went your way. Does that eat at you inside? Do you kind of feel like you just had bad luck this year? 2015 was an incredible year for you. 2016, you almost had that massive payday against Conor, and the bad luck came into play just days before the fight. Do you think about that a lot?
Yeah, man. Like I said, everything happened for a reason. Here I am. I lost my title. I lost I got hurt 2 weeks before the fight. And it's not all about the payday, just because I got hurt and I couldn't fight. But man, I'm still doing okay, man. I'm blessed that I have like amazing kids and I have amazing family. You know, everybody with a good health, and I have everything. You know, I live in a nice place, and I can't complain, man. I think I'm still 31 years old. A lot of things will come. I keep my faith, and I keep working hard. I keep my hard work. And that's how the fighter's life is. You get hurt, you lose opportunities, but I think bigger things will come in the near future.
Is it hard for you to watch those Conor-Nate fights because that could have been you in there against him?
Yeah, I don't even think this way.
Oh, okay.
I think I got hurt. Nate stepped up, beat Conor, and now he lost. It could be me, but I don't really think this way. Like I said, everything happened for a reason, and I'm happy where I am now. It's gonna give me extra motivation to work hard and get back on the top again.
I know you say that you don't do a lot of social media these days, and I don't blame you. But I did notice during that fight last week, UFC 202, that you mentioned something about, I think it was Conor's cardio, that you didn't seem all that impressed with it. That was you, right?
Yeah, that was me, because I just the next day people say, that was fighting 20 on the all times. I don't know, because I think most of people, they watch MMA for the first time that day, and they think there was. I just saw two sloppy guys on the phone after the second round, and the fight got so sloppy, and I didn't see the best fight of all times at all. But it is what it is.
So you didn't enjoy it?
Yeah, the first round was good. The Conor dropped Nate a couple of times, but then I didn't see like, oh, what an exciting fight. I didn't see it that way.
Wow. So
I've watched better fights before, you know.
Sure. Who do you think won the fight? Who did you score it for?
I scored for Nate.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you remember which rounds? Did you give Nate the fourth?
The third. I think I had Conor on the third. No, I had Nate. I had Conor on the first and the second. I think the rest was Nate.
Okay.
No, the second Nate had it. I think Conor got the third, and 4 and 5 for Nate.
Okay, I think you mean the third. I think you're swapping two, but fair enough. You think that that Nate won the fight. Now it seems like there might be a chance that Conor fights Eddie. Since you've been there with Eddie, you've been in there with Eddie, you were preparing for Conor. Who do you think wins that fight?
Man, Conor, Eddie, he has more weapons than Conor. You know, he has grapple, he has better wrestling than Nate. Everybody saw Nate is a tough guy. He has a big heart, but Nate he's kind of limited. You know, has a good boxing, good ground game, but he doesn't have takedowns. He doesn't have kicks. So this thing, it can make the like harder for him. You know, but Eddie have a good wrestling, good boxing. He kicks too. So I think Eddie can give Conor a hard time.
You think he finishes Conor?
Yeah, it can happen. Like everybody thought I was way favorite against Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
And so that didn't happen. It's hard to tell MMA, but I think Eddie has the advantage.
Now, what about this fight against Tony Ferguson? When you were offered this fight, did you like it? Was this one that made sense to you?
Yeah, I think the guy. I asked for the rematch, but I think UFC will not give it to me. No rematch right now, so I need to fight somebody else. And then I think who should I fight? You know. And I think Tony is a guy that has 8 wins straight. And Khabib right now is begging for a title shot, which I think he don't deserve. But I would fight him too, you know, to see who's going to fight for the belt. but I think Tony is a guy that is ahead of him. It's a guy. Khabib is in a better position on the ranking, but I think Tony is ahead of him because he's been active, he's been fighting more, and with eight wins straight. So I think that's the guy that I'm gonna beat, and then I want to fight for the title again.
So even though Khabib is 23-0 as a pro, you feel like he hasn't done enough to deserve the title shot?
Yeah, not on UFC. He haven't done it in different organization, but in UFC, I know he beat me 3 years ago, but his last fight, he fought, no offense to nobody, but the guy wasn't even top 30, you know, and I think the guy's not even on UFC anymore, you know, and I think he needs to fight somebody to get the title, but it is what it is. If UFC think Khabib should fight for the title now or Conor, which I don't think is fair, because Jose Aldo is waiting for Conor, you know. The guy won the belt, not even defending his title. He's already won a fight for the lightweight. But I don't think it's fair. But I've been in this position before. I will build my weight up again. I will beat Tony Ferguson November 5th, and I want to fight for the title again.
So if you had it your way, who do you think deserves to fight for the belt next?
I think, man, I think I should get my rematch. That's what I think. So everything that I've been done in the division, finishing guys that never been finished before, but it is what it is. If Khabib goes, it's fine. But I will get there. I will get there again.
Just for fun, who do you think wins, Khabib or Eddie?
Yeah, man. It's hard to tell, but I think maybe Khabib can win.
Oh.
And it would be great to get the belt from him.
You'd prefer that?
Yeah. Either way. So I lost for both of them.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to get my rematch with some of them. So I will be home and watch. And either way, you know, they both beat me. But it would be good to get a rematch with one of them.
Have you been told that if you beat Ferguson, you will get the next title shot?
I hope so, man. I hope so. Because I don't see nobody else to have the title shot.
But you haven't actually been told that yet.
Sorry?
But has anyone from the UFC told you or your manager that that's the case? If you beat Tony Ferguson November 5th, you're getting a title shot?
No.
Okay.
No. But
you want that?
I think that's I just want it. You know, I think I deserve it.
Yeah. Any concerns about fighting in Mexico City? Your teammate Fabricio Verdum went there around 2 months before when he fought there the first time. Are you going to do the same so that you don't, suffer the effects of the high altitude?
Yeah, I know that's very high. It's like 7,500. It's very high. But I'm go there a couple weeks before, maybe a month before, and acclimate, I go a little bit early.
You mentioned earlier about Tony Ferguson. He's won 8 in a row. He was on this show last week, and he said that the blueprint is sort of out, that if you pressure you, then you will falter. I'm curious what you thought about his last fight against Lando Venata, because it seemed like he was rocked by a guy who was making his debut on like 2 weeks' notice. What did that say, in your opinion, about Tony Ferguson? What did you learn from that fight?
Yeah, the guy, I didn't watch the fight. I just watched the highlights.
Okay.
And I'm kind of out of everything. I'm doing my own thing now. I'm kind of training hard and keep like focus on, but man, he's not gonna have opportunity to do that. I'm gonna push the pace of the fight. I'm gonna push the pace of the fight.
So it seems like you've kind of cut everything else out, all the noise. You're just focused on yourself. You're training your family. Nothing else.
Nothing else, man. Nothing else.
Were you focused too much on that other stuff, you think, when you were champion?
No, man. I always was a kind of low-profile guy, I always focus on my family, my teams, but it's kind of still confused for me that loss. But I know on the near future a lot of better things will come, but I wasn't focusing on different stuff at all. I just had a bad day of work, but like I said, I will be back.
Does it still feel weird not to have the belt, not to be the champion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel weird, because I put a lot of work on that. I have my team. I went to Evolve. I trained a lot of there too, man. My coaches put a lot of work on it. Master Gordo, Master Rafael Cordeiro, Jacob Harmer, Felipe Delamonica, all my coaches, we put a lot of work on it. But it didn't went the way that we want. But I'm pretty sure better things will come.
One last quick thing. I'm curious if you saw Anthony Pettis' fight on Saturday. Of course, you beat him to become champion. Do you think he's better at 145?
Yeah, he did great because on 55 he wasn't. Anthony Pettis is a great fighter, man. Yeah, I have a respect for him. I watched his interview after fight, and man, he lost for me. He lost for Barboza. He lost for Eddie, and he's still hungry, man. He's still, he still won it. He dropped weight, and he beat a tough guy. And I have a bigger respect for him because of that. He didn't give up. He's still there. He's still in the game. And congrats to him. He did great.
Great stuff, Rafael. Thank you for the time. Best of luck to you November 5th. I'm looking forward to your return and appreciate you coming on today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, there he is, Rafael dos Anjos, the former UFC lightweight champion. Okay, let's move along now. Looking forward to talking to our next guest. It has been a minute. Have been trying to get him on the show for quite some time. Finally, he squeezed us into his very busy schedule. We're talking to Rashad Evans right now. Rashad, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Ariel. How about you?
I'm doing great. I can feel the smile on your face right now. You're just so happy to be back on the show.
I am. I really am. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. I've been trying to fit it in there,
Yeah. You've been ducking me.
A little bit.
All right. Well, let's talk, my man. There's a lot to discuss. Let's first start with you. A couple of weeks ago, there was a report, I believe it was Flow Combat, that reported that you're going to return in New York as a middleweight against Tim Kennedy. Is that true?
Well, I can tell you I'm working towards that. I'm making my cut down to middleweight. As far as the opponent, nothing has been set in stone. There has been talks about, a fight with Tim Kennedy. There's been talk about other fights too as well. But nothing has been. I haven't signed anything yet. I had Ali working with Joe Silva to try to set something up, but nothing has been finalized yet.
Now let's start with the weight first. Why do you feel at this stage of your career like this is the best move for you? That's 20 more pounds to cut. Do you really want to do that?
Well, the thing about it is the fact that it is a tough cut, but at some point, I feel like I need to just, kind of start over again and kind of get something fresh, and 185 is a weight class that I've always thought about going, but really just never put the time and the discipline into making it happen. And, coming off 2 fights, losing and just wanting to just find a way to bring some life back into, wanting to compete again, I felt like dropping to 185 is the best choice.
Like right now, how much do you weigh, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm right now at 215.
215.
215. So, I'll start my day probably about, 217 when I wake up in the morning. About the time I'm finished with my workout and, stuff like that, I can get to be about like 210 to 209. And then, by the end of the day, I'm usually ending about 215, and that's fully gassed up and everything else with, proper nutrition and liquids and everything.
Wow. So you lose 6 pounds just working out? That's incredible.
Man, I lose a lot of weight. A lot of it's just water weight. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm training 2 or 3 times a day, and I have a couple different workouts that work on a different aspects of my physical training. So then that way it kind of shocks my body a bit, and I sweat a little bit more. So I'm just trying to keep it trying to keep it moving. You know, at 36 years old, going on 37 in a few weeks, I gotta find something just to keep my body, you know, always trying to catch up. I don't want to get comfortable. I don't want to plateau.
Now, to that point, I noticed that you were in Thailand recently for a couple of weeks. Is that part of trying to switch things up and light a fire under you?
Yeah, you know what happened, Ariel? Like, I got to a point in my life where I had like a lot of things going on. You know, I was kind of, spread out too thin in my personal life and professionally. You know, you guys know I was struggling in the octagon, and I just wasn't finding the right kind of flow for me. You know what I'm saying? And fighting for me has always been like a spiritual thing for me. You know, it's never been about just being the toughest guy or nothing like that. I go in there, have fun, I'm clowning around, and it's a good outlet for me. But when I was all clogged up in all areas of my life, as far as my personal life, and it really messed up my professional life. So I wanted to go to Thailand just to kind of reset my focus and just to kind of get away from everything and just kind of, just get to the basis of why I even started to be a martial artist, and it's just because I'm a student of the martial art. I'm a student of the game.
So was it a fruitful trip? Did you find that? Do you feel better now?
I feel like I found it. You know,
Okay.
if anything, I enjoyed the process of just getting to be a student again, just putting myself in a position where, I don't know everything that's going to happen, and I'm kind of figuring out the new environment of being in Thailand. Being with the Thai people and the way they live, and they live in such a carefree way, and it's just like it kind of reminded me, like, I've allowed myself to make life a lot more complicated than it has to be, because then at the end of the day, like if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, no matter what. I really don't have no control over it. I can want it to be this way or that way, but at the end of the day, I don't really have no choice. So I got to learn to just accept things the way they are, but at the same time, I can't allow anything to steal my joy. I got to still find a way to be happy no matter what variables life throw at me.
Do you still enjoy everything that goes into being an active MMA fighter, like the entire process, the build-up, the training, getting to the city and fight? Like, do you still enjoy that whole, sort of tornado of things that goes on as you prepare for a fight?
I do enjoy it. But, one thing I've been finding myself, it was just like a few times before the day of the fight, that process for me was kind of a little bit more psychologically stressful than it normally is. And it could just do with the fact that me just not being ultimately, too sure of my preparation and stuff like that. But, it was just something that I had to really take a deeper look into, because, on fight day I wake up and I'm like, I'm nervous, but I'm like a little bit too nervous. You know what I'm saying? And then the process, once I get to the arena and once I start cracking pads, it's not like, oh, yeah, this is it, I'm ready. But, like, the restfulness that you get before a fight, because there's having, like before you fight, there's this readiness that is really hard to explain, but something's going to happen. There's a peace that comes over you in between that where it's just like, I know what's going to happen, but at the same time, I'm okay to rest because no matter what happens, I'm going to handle it. Yeah. I felt myself in a place where I never really got to that place where I was able to have that ready restfulness because I was thinking like, man, maybe I didn't run enough. Maybe my knee's not strong enough. What if this happens? And I couldn't allow myself to mentally relax. So that's something I've been really trying to work on now is just enjoying that process a little bit more. Speaking
of the knee, no secret that you haven't won since the knee injury. Do you feel like it's still holding you back?
I do feel like it's been holding me back, but not because of the knee itself, but just because psychologically I'm so worried that I'm going to move the wrong way or I'm going to, do something that's going to pop out and it's going to be ruined again, So it's really been, my training consists of now is just doing a lot of working out as far as planning off the knee, explosive movements off the knee. And I've been training with Tony Villani at XPE, as well as my other trainer, Rob at around the same area. So what I've been doing is the fact that I've been doing a lot of just explosive movement, changing direction, all the things that you would do in a fight where you always have to be willing to, cut on a dime or plan or put a lot of weight or carry somebody else's weight and be able to move in a second. And once I know, and I'm feeling like I am now, like I can do that and I'm ready to do that. Now I know when I'm training and now I know when I'm in a fight that I can do it. So I'm getting a lot more confidence in my knee.
I think I speak for most of the MMA community, if not all, when I say that in April, looking at you at that press conference in Tampa Bay, it was hard. You are a legend. You are a Hall of Famer. You're a former champion. You were emotional. You were kind of hurting after the loss against Glover Teixeira. What was going through your mind? Were you, have you ever felt anything quite like that? Because it's different than the Machida fight when you lose a belt, but you know that you're still at the top of your game. Are you starting to question yourself? Are you starting to think you don't want to do this anymore? What is going through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, at that moment, it was really frustrating because, when I was in the ring and once I got going in the cage, I felt like I was ready and I felt like I was, on point. But then, when I got knocked out and it just went so fast, I felt like I was so far away from where I ever been, and I felt like I was struggling way too much with even just to try to even compete. And then I had to start thinking, like, when I went into the fight, did I already mentally lose in my mind? Like, was I already kind of like not expecting to not win? You know what I'm saying? Like, I never had a feeling like when I went to a fight, like I could lose. I never ever felt like that, but I was thinking like maybe I felt like I could lose in this fight, and maybe I didn't really go out there and attack, and I had positions on them where before I would have never given up. Like, if I get somebody against a cage, they're going to have to work their butt off to keep me off of them from holding them against the cage, because then I'm going to try to take a shot or I'm going to make them work a lot more. But when I had Glover against the cage, I didn't maximize that position, and I'm just like, dude, where's your head at? Like, what am I thinking? Where am I at when it comes to competing inside of this octagon? And even before that, I'm just like, these are all things that used to never happen to me, because fighting used to be so automatic. Like, it would just be like, it was just like easy. It was so easy for me, and I never had to really work at being a top fighter. And it sounds weird to say, because I feel like I haven't had my best performance in the octagon, but at the same time, on that day, I felt I was so far from where I used to be, because I actually felt for the first time that I need to do something in order to bring my level up way more than I had before. And I'm like, that used to never happen to me. And I was like, where did I go? What happened to me? And it's a sickening feeling, because fighting has been something that's always been in my DNA for so long. Like, I've been fighting before I can even remember, and I never had that feeling gone, and it was gone that day.
Did you consider not fighting anymore?
That night, I went back to the hotel, and I went and sat with my family, and I thanked them for all coming, and I hung out with them and I eased their mind. I smiled with them and laughed and stuff like that. But that night, I knew I had my answer, because I went back to the hotel and I had a couple of drinks, stuff like that, but I couldn't rest. My mind was still busy on what happened, and I was embarrassed and everything like that. And then I just put on my running shoes and I ran for like 4 hours straight. I ran until the sun came up, and I ran until all the fighters were getting on a bus, going home for the next day. And I just kept running, and I felt like Forrest Gump, but at the same time, finding the will to run, finding the reason to run, it answered my question on whether I should quit or not.
Wow.
And my body said I shouldn't quit. My mind said I shouldn't quit. My heart said I shouldn't quit. And if I never win another fight again, I would at least be able to go out there and compete knowing that this is what I truly, truly want to do.
Why do you still do it? Why put your body, your mind, your emotions, your family? What's the point? Why go through it?
It's just who I am. It's just who I am. It's like a big part of who I am. Like it's just something that's inside of me. You know, I can't even explain it, to be honest, because I don't get another feeling like this doing anything else. Like there's no feeling that I feel preparing for a fight, getting ready for a fight, you know, sitting there waiting for the fight to happen like I do when I'm when I'm in it, you know. So it's a tough thing.
You know, this sport is very cruel sometimes. Some of the things that you're talking about right now, like I was watching Carlos Condit, a former teammate of yours, on Saturday. I don't know if you saw that fight. Did you see that fight on Fox?
I did see the fight. Yeah, I did see it.
And did you see him after the fight, the press conference in the cage? I mean, it's heartbreaking stuff to see someone like Carlos Condit, who I still think is one of the very best in the world, say that he doesn't know if he belongs in the UFC anymore. And it feels like every athlete, whether it's in the NBA, NFL, MMA, whatever, goes through this sort of moment where they have to decide, should I keep going? Should I not keep going? Someone who is, you know, obviously you're getting up there in age. You've had your highs and lows. How do you react to seeing others kind of go through the same thing? Like when you see Condit go through that, how does your heart react? And you know him on a personal level as well, but it's sort of a fraternity that you guys are in, and you all kind of go through it together. And I'm sure at some point you thought you would never reach that point. Like we all think we're going to live forever, and we all think like, oh, you know, we're going to be the best forever, but that doesn't happen, obviously. How do you react seeing others kind of start to go through the same thing that you're going through?
My heart went up to him because I know that feeling. I know that feeling where you put your heart and soul into everything, and then you go out there on a night where you supposed to perform, and it doesn't happen, and you just are in a weird space where you're just figuring, like you're just thinking, like, I just dedicated, 3, 4, 5 months to getting ready, to be ready, to go out there and compete, and this is what I go out there and I went out there and I just completely just wet the bed. I didn't go out there and perform the way I needed to perform. And then you start thinking, like, has time passed me up? Has the sun set on me and I didn't know? And I always said I never wanted to be one of those athletes where people are like, I'm the last to know I need to stop competing. So then you think to yourself, like, did that happen to me? Should I stop competing? Now is the level went up that high and I'm just not there no more, but I can't see it because I'm too close and I don't have enough perspective to see that now I'm the guy who needs to give it up. And it's a really, really tough thing to ask yourself because as a top athlete who's always been, at the top of the food chain, you're not ready to be at the bottom. And you don't even know how to feel when you are at the bottom, or you don't know how to feel when you do get gobbled up as if you are, at the bottom, because you're only used to being an apex predator. And when you're not, you feel like I can't compete any other way. And then you start thinking like, well, what do I do if I don't fight? Like what am I if I'm not a fighter? And it takes you in a weird place because then you have to start to find a way to redefine who you believe yourself to be outside of fighting.
What do you think you'll do after you stop fighting?
I really like doing the TV stuff.
Yeah. But
more importantly, I feel like my thing in life is just to give back. And if anything I can do to give back, to help out, to start some kids programs in the inner cities where they actually need it, meaning the fact that, a lot of school programs are being cut and these kids have a lot more free time on their hands, so they get involved in nonsense, and I used to be one of those kids who was part of the rowdy bunch. If I wasn't into sports and stuff like that, I found something crazy to get into. So a lot of these kids, they get into bad things. So I would like to start, programs for them, like some kind of MMA training or something like that, where they'd be able to get into after they get done from training, and just give them a better outlet, just besides hanging on the street and doing bad things. That's something I could do, and it's something that I feel like I can find purpose in doing.
Being a New York guy, is MSG just what the doctor ordered for you, in the sense that this is something that you've been talking about, that you've wanted for a while? Here it is, right around the corner. I mean, it feels like the timing is so perfect to use that as great motivation to get you kind of back on track and to strive for something, to be a part of that card, history, all that stuff. Like, is this perfect for you in that sense?
It is absolutely perfect. This is, I couldn't, wrote anything better myself, and to be able to, hopefully have an opportunity to compete on this card and to be a part of what this card means in the history of mixed martial arts is just, it really means everything to me, and a big opportunity, a big chance for me to get back on track and to make a statement. Is something that I look to do. And if I get a chance to be on this card, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna show out. I'm gonna go out there and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna enjoy doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is what it's about, though. You know what I'm saying? And if it's just about being a part of history. No matter what happens in my life, no matter I live forever in this moment. I live forever. I'm immortalized forever in this moment, being the fact that I can say that I've competed in the first card at Madison Square Garden, UFC, mixed martial arts. And that for me is something that no one can ever take away. And I'm just happy I get a chance to be a part of that.
So do you have any reservations fighting Kennedy? Were you guys tight when you were at Jackson's, fighting a Jackson's guy? Any issues there?
If that's a fight, then that's a fight. At the end of the day, I'm a professional. He's a professional as well, too. But I have no reservations. We've always had great training sessions when we train together at Jackson, so it should be exciting. You know what I'm saying? I think it's weird because, like, when I would train with him, I would always think, like, maybe one day we will fight each other. Because at the time he was coming to the gym, he was still kind of like he was kind of still like a guy who just came for his camp. So he was part of the team, but he was kind of like a floater, But now he's the Jackson guy. And but I've always felt like we could possibly fight, and when we trained together, it was a dog fight, and we would go in there and we would get after it. So I look forward to if that's a fight to be, I look forward to fighting him.
And have you decided, like, is it 100% that your next fight will be at 185, regardless of if it's Kennedy or not? Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
That's the plan. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do whatever I can to make it happen, and just make sure I take care of my weight, so that way I'm not killing myself before right before the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna really do what I can to make sure I get my weight down as soon as possible.
Will you work with any of these famous nutritionists to help you in that regard?
Yeah, actually, I've been working with George Lockhart and his people already.
All right. Yep, they're the best.
Yeah.
And final thing for you, what's your take on this whole Dana White saying that he wants to see Rumble fight John Jones and not DC, which seems like it makes no sense. And then you have Cormier and Rumble saying they want to fight each other and sort of box out Jones. We don't even know when Jones is coming back. Considering you're sort of tied to that whole picture, what's your take on that? What should Rumble do next?
I think Rumble should fight DC, and here's the thing about it: when you're a UFC matchmaker or whatnot, I'm not a UFC matchmaker, but it just doesn't seem smart that you'll take out two number one competitors, and as the way it is right now with so many shows and the way the landscape is with people getting hurt and losing real big star power as far as big athletes that has a drawing potential, it just doesn't seem smart that you'll knock out two top guys. You know what I'm saying? It would seem better to have, DC fight Johnson, and then, if Jones comes back in a certain amount of time, then he fights the winner or whatever the case may be. It just doesn't seem smart that you would knock out two potential main event cards.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Well, Rashad, man, I feel like we could talk for another 30 minutes. Such fascinating stuff. The honesty that you put on display here today, wow, it's breathtaking, really, to hear an athlete talk about his career like that, and that story about you running after the Glover fight. Just incredible stuff. And, I hope that you do find what you are searching for and get back on track, because you are one of the best, my man. Really a pleasure to have you on and talk like this and get to hear what's going through your mind. It's an honor, really. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And I hope to see you at MSG. I hope you get what you want. Hope you get to fight on that card. That would be something very special for longtime fans of yours. All the best to you, my man, and we'll talk to you very soon. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
He's the man, Rashad Evans, former light heavyweight champion. Wow. Amazing stuff, especially considering what Carlos Condit, coincidentally, a former teammate of his, is going through. This is a part of combat sports. This is a part of sports in general. It's a part of life. At some point, you face your own mortality, if you will. You face the facts that, look, we can't be the best forever. We can't be on top of the game forever. That's just the way life goes. And at one point you feel like you are the king of the hill, that you'll never slip, that you'll always be the best. And then boom, just like that, in a matter of seconds, it feels like you start to question yourself. You start to think about the next chapter. You start to wonder if you're good enough to hang with these young guys. I mean, it's just amazing. And that was on display on Saturday. And it's hard to see. It's hard to watch these individuals who we deem invincible, who I have the utmost respect for, who, again, as I've said many times before, contain more testicular fortitude than I can ever dream of, that have more guts than I can ever dream of. And then you see them in this vulnerable state starting to question themselves. It's a heart-wrenching thing to watch. Really appreciate Rashad and his honesty right there. So how about this? We go from Rashad, who's at that juncture of his career, to a young man who improved to 5-0 on Friday night. He is just 21 years young. He is one of the bright young stars fighting in Bellator right now. He is the undefeated AJ, the mercenary Mckee, and he is joining us right now via the magic of Skype. AJ, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How are you, my man?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I got the impression that you were a little disappointed that it went as long as it did. Like you couldn't really truly enjoy it. Was that the case?
A little bit, but it is what it is, and I ended up getting another second round finish. So I'm happy, just to go in there, and it went a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but at the end of the day, I still walked out the cage with the victory.
Now, you mentioned that you were partying the night before, and you alluded to that as maybe the reason why I went to the second round. Is that true? Were you really partying the night before?
Kinda, yeah. I went to the club.
What?
We had Wiz Khalifa there, so went to go see Wiz Khalifa, man. You can't pass up Wiz Khalifa.
Were you personally invited to the concert?
Well, no, I work at the club. It was the same spot where my after party was, so
Damn.
I just kind of went up there.
What time did you go to bed?
About 1, 2.
In hindsight, do you think that was a mistake?
Definitely, I think you just kind of, being young, you just kind of look past things and you want to just enjoy life a little. But I don't know. I feel where I want to be, where I want to go. There's little things that I got to leave alone, and being young is probably one of them. That's a sacrifice I got to make to get to where I want to be.
Well, what a story you are, because like I said, you're just 21, you're 5-0, and you're the son of Antonio Mckee, who we've been watching for quite some time. And the interesting thing here is, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but your dad was considered kind of a grinder. He wasn't known for his finishes. He was known to beat up people and go the distance. You're the complete opposite. You're upset if you go to the second round. Was that a conscious decision on your part? Like, I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be known as a finisher?
Yeah, it's kind of an entertainment thing for me, You make the fans happy, the fans make Bellator happy, and Bellator make me happy. So it's just kind of a supply and demand thing,
growing up with an MMA fighter as a father, was this something that he, kind of forced you into? Like, not forced, but kind of nudged you to go in that direction? Because, I got to be honest, like, we don't see a lot of sons of fighters at this stage. As far as I'm covering the sport, it just, because you're so young and he's young as well. Is this something that he wanted you to do and you just kind of followed his path?
No, my dad actually didn't want me to fight at all. I had to beg him to let me fight my first amateur fight, which was a week after my 18th birthday.
Wow.
So after that, he kind of saw how good I was, and he's like, if you're gonna do this, then you gotta give it 110. And there's certain things, certain aspects of your life you're gonna have to leave alone. There's certain things you're gonna have to add in. So just knowing he's been through it all already, and he's been on it all, he's done it all, I just kind of look at his career and see the things he's done already and just follow his footsteps, just because he wouldn't put me down a path he hasn't already been through himself. So he's not going to tell me to walk that walk if it's not the right walk to walk.
Do you recall when you first started to think that this was something that you wanted to do?
Say that again?
Do you recall when you first started to think that this was something that you wanted to do? Like, at what age did you start to think about being an MMA fighter?
Man, since I was probably 5 or 6.
What?
I barely started. Yeah, I started wrestling at 3 or 4. So just being around all the fighters, my dad fighting all the time, being around Rampage, Chuck Liddell, Congo, Rashad Evans, literally any fighter you can talk of. All the greats I've been around, I've watched their careers. I grew up around them in the gym, Everybody's known if you want the hard work, the grind work, that Antonio Mckee, he's going to give it to you, He's going to give you the real deal. So just always being around the grind, it's all I know how to do, And that's kind of where I feel I let him down a little, going into the second round, but it is what it is, with due time, people are going to get better and they're going to catch up. So you just got to keep evolving as they evolve along with the sport and stay on top and stay ahead. So if that's sacrificing time and partying, then that's what you got to do. You just got to decide what you want to do and give it 110.
What are most of your friends doing at this age? Like, are they in school? Do they have jobs? What are they doing?
My cousin's in school. The rest of my friends, I honestly don't talk too much.
Really?
My friends are in the gym, I see them Monday through Thursday. We'll kick it on Friday or Saturday sometimes.
Okay, but
usually I'm at work Friday, Saturday.
But the ones you grew up with, you don't keep in touch with?
Not really. They come to the fight. They support me, we'll hang out. They'll come to the after parties. But after that, it's back in the gym. I'm supposed to be in the gym today, but I'm like, what, I want a little break. I'm kind of drained, so I'll definitely be back into the gym tomorrow.
Are a lot of them hitting you up now that you're gaining more notoriety? You're on television, fighting on the main card. Are you feeling a lot of people coming out of the woodwork?
Not really. Some of my main friends that were always supportive of me, even when I was fighting back in high school. Just like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. You got a wrestling tournament. Just fighting. I've always loved to fight. I've always been a fighter. I've always had that inside me, just to fight. So they're always supportive, and now that I'm actually getting there, they're still supportive of me. And just when I step away, they still give me my space, but I know they're still always there for me.
When you were dreaming about your career, did you think at 21 you'd be fighting for a top promotion like Bellator on national television? Was this part of the plans, or is it happening a little sooner than you thought?
My dad's had it all planned, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just figuring it out, and me wanting to be the youngest champ ever now, I'm trying to get it within the next couple fights. So just it all being here and it all settling in is just life changing, life blowing. Just taking it all in, trying to get acclimated to it all is just it's intense.
Yeah. After the fight, you weren't talking about slow builds. You were talking about Pitbull, Strauss, the champion. Do you feel like if they book that next, do you feel like you're ready for that, or do you feel like you want 1 or 2 more fights?
I feel like I got 1 or 2 more fights just to kind of tighten up things, especially after this last fight. It was a good win, but I feel like kind of overlooked Cody Walker. Not overlooked him, but I didn't expect what I expected from him just based off. He's probably one of the biggest 45s anyone's ever seen, with a 78-inch reach, 6'2". That's a huge 45-pounder. And I'm already a pretty big 45-pounder, so me having to change my entire game up, just being focused to fight Corrales and being ready for Corrales, I went in there kind of getting ready to fight Corrales, staying long and staying on the outside. But I don't know, in the middle of the fight, the whole game plan, a week before the fight, the whole game plan just changed. And my dad's like, hey, you've always wanted to go get it. He's like, this is your fight. He's like, you got to be inside this fight, so go get it. And I just went in there and I kind of let those hands go, and went to go get it.
What I appreciate about you, among many other things, is that you get the showmanship part of the game. You come out with the jacket. You call yourself the mercenary. Where did that come from? Where did this gimmick come from?
My dad, I'm a car fanatic and a gun fanatic. You can put any gun in front of me, I'll take it completely apart and put it back together.
Wow.
Without even being shown how to do it. It's just, I love guns, I love cars, I love speed. So it's kind of just things that motivate me, And like, I want to go take Artemis classes just to learn tactical training. If fighting ever fell through, I was probably going to go into the military or something. There's just certain things that drive someone and fascinate someone, So for me, speed and guns is one. I love speed and I love guns.
Forgive my ignorance.
He's like, hey,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. And that's just kind of where my dad came up with the mercenary thing, Bellator also, they hired me to do a job, when they signed me to sign the contract, I signed that contract promising that I would take over the division. That was the promise I made to myself and to my dad and to Scott Croker. So at this point, all I have to do is live up to my word, and take over the game and stay focused and do it one fight at a time.
Where does the jacket come from?
That's just me. That's just a little part of AJ, man. I like a unique type of fashion, So like after the fight, I put on all white, and we went to the after party with all white. I went all white with a tux tail, white jeans, black belt, black glasses. All black.
Why all white?
It's all white. It stands out.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just it's a celebration, All white is just kind of it's kind of the thing. It's all white or all black, But white stands out a lot more than black, so I just felt it was just necessary, It's what I wanted. Everybody's got their own different little type of fashion, My cousin Joey, he's more of a modern fashionist, versus me. I'm more of a classic fashionist. So, but his style is off the chain too, I'll go in his closet and pull out his clothes just because I like his style. But it's everyone's just got their own different swag, their own different look, He'll sit one way versus the way I sit.
Right.
But they're both still a classic look.
And of course, you're talking about Joey Davis, who was successful in his Bellator debut on Friday. A very, very hot prospect, 133-0, I believe, in college. So you're on the same card as him. Now, you called him your cousin. Is he like a blood cousin, or are you just like, is he like your boy, your cousin?
He's blood to me, but
right.
He's not. I've known Joey since I was 3. He started training in my dad's garage at 5.
Crazy.
And I was 3. So I don't have much family, Joey doesn't have much family. Our lifestyles are kind of similar, He grew up in Compton. I grew up in Long Beach, both from the hood. We just both, we both seen some crazy things in our lives. We both are changing our families' lives at the end of the day, So our lives are just so similar, from me living in a loft with my parent, my dad, my little sister, him living in a loft with his dad and his little sister, It's just crazy how similar our lives are, and how we've kind of just shared our lives together, So I'll kind of slip off track And, like, wherever Joey's going, I'm going. Like, right now, you can see there's Joey with his girl, and I'm sitting right here. So, like, this is just, like, how we are. Wherever he goes, I go. Wherever I go, he goes.
And so how about that? Close to where you're both from, you're, fighting on the main card. You're about to go 5-0. He's fighting on the undercard, making his debut. Was this something that you guys dreamed of? Like, did you plan for that? And how surreal was it on Friday in the locker room when it was all happening in front of your eyes?
For me, I didn't realize it was happening until I got into his corner and started cornering him.
Okay.
At that point, I was so nervous. Like, it wasn't even funny. I started freaking out. My dad's one of the type of coaches. He hates when you just yell. And, like, I started noticing, like, hey, you're just yelling. Shut up. Like, your dad's not talking anymore. But I wasn't yelling, like, crazy stuff. Like, I was yelling good things to do, I was trying to get him to see things he needs to open up. And, after the fight, he noticed it. But when you're in there, there's just certain things that hold you back that you can't do. You can't pull the trigger. You can't get in tune with your body, or there's certain things that are blocking you from that. So he sees it. I see it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it with my dad, and there's a lot of work to do. But for a month and a half of training, he's going to be awesome, man. He's right behind, He's right behind me.
You're the reason why he didn't try to go for the Olympics, right? You said, "No, that doesn't pay. Come do prize fighting with me."
What's an Olympic medal going to do for you? We're the only country that taxes for an Olympic medal that is supposed to be a prize. How are you going to tax somebody for a prize that you're giving them? I feel it's ridiculous. And then on top of it, there's no pay for it.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jordan Burroughs, and guess what? Humbling Jordan Burroughs, he lost this year. So I want to see if he's going to compete again after that. All respect to Jordan Burroughs, he's a great athlete, phenomenal athlete. But hey, what's next now? Is he going to compete again? Is he going to switch over to fighting? Because sooner or later, everyone slips up or everyone falls if something's not in place.
When do you want to return?
I want to get on the September 13th card. I'll fight whenever.
Well, what about that break that you were just talking about?
I don't need a break.
Okay.
I'm back in the gym tomorrow. I'll be back in the gym tomorrow. I wanted today, but I'm a little spiritually drained from this weekend stuff.
Are they down with that idea? Are they going to give you a fight on that card?
I don't believe so. I think the main events are already locked in. So maybe October.
All right.
October in San Jose, the Chandler fight. I believe it's Chandler versus...
Oh, that's November 19th. Chandler Benson.
Yes. Chandler Benson, and then Phil versus... Is it Phil? Or no, MVP.
Yep.
That's the co-main. So there's two open fights we were talking about on the press conference after the fight. And I was like, cool. Like, I asked Scott Croker, I was like, can I fight? In the middle of the press conference, he's like, you can fight whenever you want. I was like, let's make a contract. So I'm ready, man. I got a couple more fights of just fine-tuning up to do, just spiritually getting right and doing things right, So I feel 2 more fights and I'll be prepared, and we'll be ready, We'll be ready to get that title shot and be the youngest champ ever.
Well, I am intrigued, my man. This, to me, represents what Bellator should be all about. They are doing a great job now of pinpointing young talent and bringing them up, and none better than AJ Mckee. 5-0 now. Fantastic win on Friday. Congratulations to both you and your cousin Joey. I'm really intrigued by what you guys are doing, and you guys have become must-see TV now. So congratulations. Keep it up, and looking forward to your next fight. Thank you very much for the time, AJ.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
All right, there he is, AJ Mckee, stopping by, the son of Antonio Mckee. What a story Bellator has on their hands there, and the best part about it all, he is winning, and he is winning in very impressive fashion. This, to me, remember when Scott Coker came on board a couple years ago, I said, look, we need to give him some time to right the ship, and perhaps it has gone slower than some wanted. Perhaps it has been, I don't know, a little up and down, a little like a roller coaster, but you're starting to see the beginning of Scott and his team. It's important to note that he has a similar team to the one he had in Strikeforce. You're starting to see them find young talent, build up young talent and start to have a persona, start to have a brand. You know what I'm saying? Like they did in Strikeforce with Luke Rockhold and Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier, young guys like that who ended up being superstars. So very intriguing stuff. AJ Mckee well on his way. Okay, let's move along. One of the very best at 145 pounds in the UFC is Max Holloway. This man is on a roll. He is hungry for a big fight, and he is joining us right now via the magic of Skype. Wow, crystal clear Skype over there in Waianae. How about that? Max, how are you?
What's up, my friend? Good, good. How are you, my friend?
Look at this setup. What do you got over there? This is incredible.
This is just a regular Logitech camera and a Yeti. My streamers, I streaming. I'm off of I stream on Twitch TV, so this is my streaming setup.
Oh, I see. So you're one of those Demetrius Johnson, Rampage Jackson guys doing the video game thing.
Yeah. Let Demetrius Johnson know that I'm coming for his ass on Street Fighter 5. He whooped my ass real bad.
Oh wow.
Couple weeks ago. So tell him I'm practicing and I'm coming to get what's mine, my revenge.
You guys are actually competing in front of fans online?
Oh yeah, we was playing Street. Yeah, his game is Street Fighter 5. I played him once in UFC, and I won. And he was saying how terrible that game is, whatever. So I told him I would buy Street Fighter 5 to play him. We played 10 times, and he whipped my ass 10 times. So
wow.
I told him I'm practicing. Let him know.
I will let him know. Do you get paid for this?
Twitch, we partnership. Yeah, we do.
Wow.
It's all off of. My Twitch is at Bless MMA, so give me a follow, guys. Come through. I watch the fights and stuff, whatever. And we play games, but we gotta sponsor a partnership with them. They give us emotes and stuff, and the way we get paid if people come and subscribe to our stuff. So it's pretty cool. And the best way to talk to fans, I get to tell my wife that I'm working. So it's awesome while playing games, so it's fun.
Well, I know nothing about that stuff, but I love the fact that they're supporting fighters and giving you guys an outlet. So I am all for that. Great stuff by Twitch. Okay, there's a lot of business to talk to you about. First, let's start with the new stuff. Saturday night, UFC on Fox. Anthony Pettis, 145 looks great. And then, wow, I see on your Twitter, don't believe the hype. You were not impressed.
Bro, I didn't even watch the fight, bro. I swear to God, after every 145 fight, people's tweeting me that I should fight this guy. And I'm like, bro, like 2 weeks ago, you just was telling me I should fight your rear. And before that, you just was telling me I should fight Doo Choi. Make up your guys' mind, man. What the hell is going on? You know, it's just a confusing thing. You know, these guys want me to fight. It's just the hype. You know, I'm not talking about Pettis or whatever. You know, I'm not trying to shade them. I'm just saying don't like, they're so like these MMA fans, they just jump on the whatever that fight is, you know. And that's what I say. I want to fight. That's come I want to fight often, because they remember you for fights. You know, if you take some time off, they kind of forget what you do. But it just proves over and over again. Every time a 145er fights, they're like, Max, fight him. Max, fight him. I'm like, what the hell is going on, my friends? You know, there's some guys that want to fight. Hey, that's all good matchups for me, I think, down the future. But there's a couple guys on my radar right now that I really want. And if I can't get the guys I really want, I'll fight whoever. But, you know, that's what I'm talking about. They keep 45ers keep fighting, and I keep getting harassed on Twitter that I should fight them, that they win. So it's crazy.
Okay, we'll get to the guys that you want to fight in a second. But have you seen the Pettis fight since Saturday?
No, I didn't watch it. I was
you didn't tape it or
I saw
anything?
him finish. No, I didn't tape it. No, we was I had a family day on Saturday, and then we came home and the DVR didn't record. So it is what it is. Yeah.
But after the fact, he's saying, you know, title shots, this and that. I mean, I'm looking. You won 9 in a row, correct? That's not a typo.
Yeah, 9 in a row. Well, it's yeah, my friend said to make sure to correct you, because you keep saying 8, but I was giving you a break, because it's 8 45 fights, and I fought Clay Collar at 150, so it's 9 fights.
Fair enough. My bad. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm just trying to be.
No. He said I told him I got him. I got him. Said, Ariel say that? He said yeah, but it is what it is.
Right, because of the Will Chope fight, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 9, 8, whatever the hell it is, it's very damn impressive. But still, we're not hearing you in title picture talk, this and that. What's going on here? When are you going to get what you deserve?
I don't know. You know, the weird thing of the division, there's 2 champions. I would sit here and be like, you know, I want to fight Conor, but then I'll be stupid. I'll be dumb. I'll be a dumbass, you know, because there's another belt in the division, and Aldo got him, you know. So if Connor comes back down, they fight each other for sure. I can't be saying like, wow, where's my fight? Because Aldo got a belt. So we're hearing talks, of stuff going up to 55 and fighting for that title, and he got to drop his 45 belt. Then of course the only fight that makes sense is probably me and Aldo. Since Aldo already fought the guy Frankie Edgar twice that's in front of me, and then I would like to think I'm next in line, but we saw some crazier things in UFC happen. So I ain't holding my breath on it. If I get the call, I get the call. If not, we got to go for 10, and that's what we're going to do.
So, okay, so let's lay it out. If they do Connor versus Aldo unification bout, who makes sense for you then?
I don't know, man. I want to fight in New York. So,
right.
Frankie Edgar pops up in mine.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz is saying that he wanted to fight for the belt. He wanted a big fight. I would like to fight him at 45. I think that would be a fun fight to prove myself against someone, the pound for pound number 2 in the world. Number 1 pushing it there. So I think that would be a fun fight. Or now there's Pettis and whatever. So we see what happens. Whoever UFC wants me to fight, I take the fights. We never turn down one fight in my life. We get the call and it's like whatever. Tell us the day, we get ready and we be there.
But as of right now, they haven't reached out to you yet. They haven't talked to you about what's next.
No, I'm in the shadows, just like you guys. Yeah, I'm in the dark, man. Ninjas move in the shadows, and when it's time to shine, it's time to shine, huh?
Are you starting to get anxious? Are you getting like, are you starting to feel like, okay, what's going on? I fought, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. What's going on here?
A little bit, I want to, yeah, I fought 4 times, the last 2 years, so it's like, yeah, I want to, each year I fought 4 times, so I want to fight, I want to keep fighting, so yeah, I'm getting anxious, this breaks, anything longer than 3 to 4 months is kind of driving me crazy, without being booked. Usually I'd be booked already,
Yeah.
Last year I would have been booked already, so yeah, I want to get, I want to make those big money paydays and whatever, and I want people to harass people because I fight and they harass the other guys in front of me that I should fight them, so yeah, I'm getting anxious, man. I want to wait, but time is on your side, I'm just taking my time and we see what happens.
If you were in charge, what do you think should happen with the title? Like, do you think that if he fights 155 next, should he just give up the belt at that point? Is there value in still, having him hold the belt? What do you think should happen here? Because he's now fought, twice since winning the belt and hasn't defended it once. Yet, you can't deny the fact that his 2 fights against Nate have made a lot of money for everyone involved. What do you think should happen at this point?
I don't know. I ain't the UFC, at the end of the day, it's whatever, if when I'm in that position, I want to do what I would want to do, so we see what happens. Dana White already said that he said that if he fights 55, he's gonna drop the belt, or unify the belt at 45. So we see what happens. Everybody keep crying and complaining. I ain't no crybaby. It is what it is. I'm not gonna let my emotions get into this. It's just the way it turned out. You can't change nothing. UFC gonna do what they're gonna do, and I'm just ready for the call. Whenever they call me, I'm gonna fight. I like to call it spilled milk. You're not gonna spill milk and try and put it to the container. You just wipe that shit up and move on.
What's your dream fight at this point?
My dream fight is either the rematch with Connor or a fight with Aldo. Because I always wanted to fight Aldo since his WEC days before I even was in the UFC. He was the best guy forever. I always wanted to fight him. And then of course the Connor fight. People keep saying, telling me that. Harassing me on top of Twitter and stuff, that he had a torn ACL and he couldn't finish me and this and that. But it is what it is, go tell your boy Connor, prove it that he can finish me. Take the fight. I keep calling him out. I keep seeing, I keep talking, and he's not talking about me. He's talking about a bunch of other guys that he fought before.
Have you noticed that your name has sort of become a verb in MMA, where people say, oh, he's pulling a Max Holloway right now, the sort of end of a round thing where you point to the ground? It's that whole thing that emerged when you fought Ricardo Lamas. This has become a thing now in the last 2.5 months.
Yeah. They put it in the EA Modern Sports too. So it's
really
UFC 2. So yeah, they did it just, and only my guy could do it. So it's pretty sick.
Wow.
Yeah, shout out to I think his name is Terry out there, Gary. The guy who does the game, he put it in for us, and he's the man. You get to what happens in the game is the last 20 seconds you do the taunt, and I do the point down taunt, and if they taunt back, you get a limited what is that, cardio. You can't shoot and clinch, and you just bang hands, in other words.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty dope, and yeah, everybody's doing it. Shout out to Rivera. They did it in the
Yep.
first 20 seconds of the third round, not the last. I was like, they're kind of forgetting the thing. It's at the end, not the beginning. So shout out to their fight. That fight was crazy too.
When was the first time that you did that?
Was the Ricardo fight?
You never did that in
I-
training or in any other like small time fight? That was the first time ever?
Yeah, that was like, I try at the ending of the fights. I try to throw down for like the last 10 seconds, but I never really made it known. I try to stay there and be like, oh, 10 seconds, might as well just swing. See what happens. But that last fight, Ricardo, like if you watch, he taunted me like 3 times, and I was thinking like in my mind like, why the hell you taunting me? If you want it, you can get it. Then I decided to just stand my ground. So it was crazy.
Wow. It's amazing how it's actually become a thing. Now, explain something to me. How has the UFC in Hawaii not become a thing yet? With your success and so many others coming up, Courtney Casey just won a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I feel like they can legitimately put on a card at this point, Hawaii versus the world. I feel like you can have like a 10-deep card of Hawaiian fighters against international fighters. How has this not happened yet?
I don't know. I talked to Dana White to him a while ago about it, and the only way they said they want to come to Hawaii if it's huge, and the arena that we have at in Hawaii, the big stadium that the Pro Bowl and stuff come down. It's an open stadium, and they keep saying that the rain and stuff and whatever, but they want to come down when for a big event, for a huge event. They said so. We see what happens. Maybe I can get my title shot in New York, hopefully pull it off and win, and then, defend a belt at home. That'd be, I think that'd be pretty crazy.
Is that part of the motivation? Like, do you feel like you need to be the champion to bring the UFC to Hawaii?
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah. Look at Stipe, that
true.
guy just wins the belt, and they do a damn event for him in Cleveland. The hell is going on in Cleveland? Shout out to LeBron James then, but come on, man.
I agree, by the way.
Come to Hawaii. People want to come to Hawaii. Everybody wants to come to Hawaii. Shit.
I agree. Do you feel like life has changed? Like now when you're going around your town, are you getting noticed a lot more?
Oh, yeah, way more, way more. And just going around anywhere, going to the mall, getting stopped and whatever. It's super cool, it's just showing that the hard work is paying off. I go out there, I train hard, and I go out there, I fight hard, and and a lot of time and a lot of my time and a lot of time I gotta take away from my family, sacrifice. So
Yeah.
it's just a relief. Like, damn, it's working. I'm doing something right. So it's super cool.
How old is your son at this point?
My son is 4 years old. He turns 5 in January.
Well, happy birthday, or well, sort of early birthday to him. But does he get a kick out of seeing people recognize you and ask for pictures? Does he understand kind of what's going on?
Yeah. You're not gonna believe that guy. He either wants to be in the picture or he tells me to stop taking pictures. So if he's not in the picture, he throws a little fit and he's like, "Dad, stop taking pictures." I said, "Stop." And then if he's in the picture, he's all smiles and shocking and whatever. So he loves it. He just I gotta make sure. I gotta tell him, hey, get in the picture so he doesn't complain about it.
Wow, he feels left out. He wants a piece of that action too.
Yeah, I guess so. Smart man, I guess.
Like I said, your last fight was against Ricardo Lamas, and now here we have the legend BJ Penn fighting Ricardo Lamas. We were talking on this show a couple weeks ago. I feel like I don't like this fight for BJ. I feel like it's a little too soon to have him come back against someone like Lamas. You've been in there with Lamas. How do you feel about the fight?
I feel MMA is wild, and motivated BJ Penn is a scary dude. So.
Yeah.
We see what happens, Ricardo ain't no slouch, he's number 4 in the world for a reason, so, but then, BJ ain't no slouch either, so he's a legend. So we see what happens, I think it should be a fun fight. It's just who can get their game plan first, it's if Ricardo can, I think Ricardo's probably going to try and stick and move on BJ and kind of try and take him down and stay in BJ's guard, and then, of course, BJ probably wants to get on top. We see the most damage he does when he's on top and he takes someone back from there. So I just think it's just who gets their game plan off first. We see what happens.
Who's your pick?
hopefully we gotta stick. I gotta stick with the Hawaiian,
All right.
so we can get this this UFC Hawaii train rolling.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got to, okay, you can't, even though maybe you're picking with your heart, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Fair enough. I like that very much. Okay, so when do we think that we're going to hear something here?
Hopefully this week. It's I'm waiting. Hopefully we can hear something this week. It's a 1 week pass since the. Actually, this is gonna be a second week going on with the whole Conor McGregor Nate Diaz fight. So hopefully Conor make up his mind soon. Because
everyone's waiting on Conor.
I guess so. What's new? What's new? So,
does that piss you off?
So we see what happens. No, I don't care. I can't let that affect me because I have no control over that situation.
Sure.
I'm not gonna be pissed off, but I'll be crying about nothing. That's really really stupid. So I ain't being pissed off.
But fair to say you're not gonna accept any fight, right? I mean, you want the top guys. If it's not a belt.
I want to fight. Well, we see what happens. I just want to fight.
Okay.
If UFC comes at me with a fight, I'm gonna fight. That's just at the end of the day. If you don't believe you're the best in the world, then why the hell are you doing this shit? If I think I can beat anybody in the world, and to prove it, you gotta fight everybody. I'm not picking and choosing. I'm not cherry picking out here. Or being like, no, I don't want to fight that guy when they call me. When they call me, they get the same answer. Yes. Just tell us a date, tell us a time, we'll be ready.
By the way, what's the Brodies?
The Brodies is my YouTube channel.
Oh, look at you.
YouTube channel.
Damn.
The Brodies, yeah.
YouTube,
boy,
Twitch?
Yeah, me and my boy, Birdie Bird, my friend, he takes pictures and stuff and whatever, and he does videos for me sometimes here and there. So go check him out. And you're not into Twitch, but you can watch my gaming, some of my gaming clips. I got it up there. It's funny.
Right. And you're doing commentary, right?
Oh, I'm talking, yeah.
Yeah.
This is how Twitch looks. Twitch looks just like this, and then the big is my game, and I can talk, and I talk shit to whatever.
All right.
My Madden one is the best one lately. I've been we gotta put up a Madden one actually, but I've been losing my shits over Madden, man. Fucking Madden gods.
I want to see you and DJ talking crap to each other while playing. Is that online somewhere?
Oh yeah, that's on our Twitch. I'll have my boy
upload that.
Post one up on the stuff, and I'll let you know. It's funny. I won one round, and I gave DJ the most shit talking ever because you gotta win 2 rounds.
Okay.
And I won 1 round, and I was talking shit to him. I was saying, "Yeah, boy," this fucking swearing at him and doing all kind of shit. He was laughing. It was funny.
And then he whooped
DJ
you.
is a good time playing. Yeah, wait, he whooped my ass. So it is what it is, though. That's his game. He can have his game.
Look at you, a man of many interests. I love it. All right, well, best of luck to you in getting that big fight. I hope you do get to fight in New York. It seems like everyone wants to fight on that card, and who can blame them? What a scene that will be November 12th. I appreciate you coming on relatively early over there in Hawaii, Max. All the best to you, and congrats on all the success thus far. It's great to see.
No, thank you for having me, man. You have a great one.
All right, there he is. Max Holloway joining us from Waianae in Hawaii from his amazing setup over there. Wow, unbelievable stuff. Certainly deserving of a big fight, and you'd have to think that if Conor fights Aldo next, he needs a big fight. If Conor doesn't fight Aldo, he's got to fight Aldo, right? You would think. We'll see. Interesting times at 145 pounds, especially with Anthony Pettis dropping down. All right, let's move along now. The big news of last week, no doubt about it, Rory MacDonald signing with Bellator. You recall on this program back in March, Rory kind of broke the news that he was going to fight out his contract, test the waters. He has done that, and he decided to sign with Bellator. How fascinating is this? A sign of the times. He is now joining us on the phone. Rory, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Congratulations on the big news, Rory.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. So when you were on the show back in March and you were kind of, maybe for lack of a better word, venting and saying what was going on behind the scenes, did you know already that you were about to fight your last UFC fight?
No, I was pretty transparent about the whole thing. I knew that we were going to go into a tough negotiation period, but I didn't know that UFC wasn't going to match me. But I had my doubts, about the whole thing. But at the end of the day, I really didn't know which way it was going to go.
When you fought against Wonderboy in Ottawa, did you feel the pressure of becoming a free agent? Did that affect you at all?
I was excited about the whole thing because it was time that I get paid, and I knew what I was worth. Win or lose, I know I bring a lot to the table. I'm one of the youngest and brightest fighters in the division, and I really don't think that I've even reached my potential. There's a long road ahead in my career, and I really don't even think that I've shown anything yet. I think there's a lot ahead of me. A lot of people are going to get excited in the next few years, I think.
So after that fight, how soon afterwards did you and your management team start talking to people, testing the waters? Like, how quickly did you get into the process?
Right away.
Right away.
Immediately. Yeah.
Did you receive any kind of offer initially from the UFC?
Yeah. I mean, they had an offer. We counter-offered. There was I think it went back and forth a few times, but at the end of the day, Bellator stepped up.
Was that where you wanted to go? Or would you have been happy going back to the UFC?
You know what? UFC's done a lot for me, and I'm not going to be one of those guys that shits all over them and say that they're doing this. Yeah, they've done a lot for my career. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am on this on the bargaining side of things. They put me in the position to do this, to build my career. They've given me many opportunities, so I would have been happy to go back with them. But at the same time, I also believe in the promoters and the company at Bellator. I believe in what they're doing, building a strong roster, and I have a lot of faith in them in the direction they're going in our sport.
When you met with Scott Coker and members of his team a couple of weeks ago, before they offered you a deal, before anything was signed, what was your impression of them? What did you like about them?
They're straight up guys. They're easy to talk to. They're approachable, and they have their ears open. They don't just have their plans and they tell the fighters to just do what they want. They want to hear what the fighters want to do. They want to be creative, do something new. They don't want to just push their agenda, so to say. They want to listen and be partners almost. Do this together and build something unique. So it's been even though it's new, it's already been awesome. I've talked to the head guys over at Bellator and Spike in one day more than I have in a whole 7 years with the UFC.
Wow.
So.
Was that something that you wanted? You wanted a closer relationship with your promoter?
Well, I mean, I think that only benefits everybody.
Yeah.
I think, when you guys can work together, put your heads together and come up with something really special for the fans, I think people could really appreciate that.
When they offered you the deal, did the UFC say no or not match right away, or was there a back and forth? How did that play out?
The offer that I'm under currently, I'm pretty sure anyway that it was just a straight up, we can't match that offer. But there was some back and forth leading up to it. But I mean, that's my manager's side of things. He was the one in the talks and doing the negotiations. I wasn't a part of that.
And once you got the word that they're not going to match and that you're headed to Bellator, what were you thinking? Because it's you came into the UFC as a kid and been so many great moments there, ups and downs, fought for the belt. Like, what were the emotions that you started to feel once it sunk in that you're leaving and now going somewhere new?
You know what? I was very excited. At the same time, I had the butterflies. This is a big career choice. So, I really had to feel very strongly about my move, and I did. I did. So I was nervous. Don't get me wrong, but I think I made the right choice.
How much did the new UFC, so to speak, the Reebok deal, all this stuff come into play as far as your decision is concerned?
I spoke about this at the press conference at Bellator, and I think I have to clarify something, because I think a lot of people took it the wrong way.
Okay.
I think I'm sponsored by Reebok, and I appreciate everything they've done for me. You know, they do a lot for me on a daily basis, and they've actually been great. And they actually want to come into the sport and make a positive effect. And you know what? They came in with not much time to work, putting together, the stuff that they got going on in the cage right now. But I think in the long run, they have their mind in the right place. You know, they want to do good things for the sport, be a part of it for a long time. And I appreciate that. I just think the UFC went about it in the wrong way. They didn't really think of the fighters. I don't think, even though I think they say they're trying to make it out like they are. There was no discussion. It was just okay, this is happening, and deal with it, kind of thing, you know. And that's not very respectful. I don't think that was a very good move. I don't appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really played the biggest factor in my decision. It was more the numbers and the respect I get on a daily basis, the opportunities on the horizon that Bellator was believing in giving me and working with me, building my brand, and making money and making good fights and making a great promotion.
By the way, are you hitting pads as you're talking to us on the phone, or is that someone else?
It's other people.
Oh, man.
Someone else is on.
I would have given you major props for that. That would have been a first for us, hitting pads and speaking. So you mentioned that you were sponsored by Reebok. Is that going to continue? How does that work now that you've left the UFC?
Sorry, say that again?
How does it work? Because you had your own deal with Reebok, right? How does that work now that you've left the UFC? Are they still going to sponsor you?
I hope so. I guess we'll see. I still think that they have a great opportunity because of all the things that I'm going to be doing outside of the cage with Bellator, and a lot of shows and good promotion. I think they could reap the benefits of that as well, not just reaching the UFC market. But I mean, that's a discussion I have to have with them.
Okay, you haven't had that discussion yet.
No.
Okay. I don't know if you've allowed yourself to think this way, but I know that you kind of look at the sport from a larger perspective at times. Do you feel like historically this is a significant move? This can help others jump? Like, are you trying to, when you talk about, not speaking to the fighters about the Reebok deal, do you want all fighters? Would you prefer, would you suggest to all fighters to fight out their contract, to test the waters, to do this sort of thing so that free agency really becomes, a real thing in MMA as opposed to how it's been in the past? Do you think that that's better for the sport, that this move kind of moves things along in that direction?
I think every fighter has a unique position, in their career. And I think like any business move, you have to have the right strategy going in. So everybody's got a unique situation, and I think they have to analyze their own. For me, in the position I was in, it was a smart move. I can't say that for everybody. Everybody's in the different stages of their career. So, build your brand. Make a name for yourself. Have good fights. Put performances on, and maybe test it out. But I can't speak for everybody.
If the likes of Benson Henderson didn't sign with Bellator first, do you think you would have not considered them as seriously?
If they weren't, if they didn't have the brand, like they didn't.
Well, some people made
their name up in the UFC.
Well, no, like some people have made the jump before. UFC. You're obviously not the first to go from the UFC to Bellator, but if you were the first, do you think it's a little less daunting now that others have done it?
I think that I'm the one that's grabbed the most attention for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
No, I think it's very significant. I think it's 100% significant. I was just saying, if you were to be, it's different. There's a difference between grabbing the most attention and being the first. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that there's also the tide is turning a little bit. People are more aware. They see the opportunity where there was no opportunity before. So that's all.
Did you reach out to anyone who fights for Bellator to get their take on what it's like to work over there?
No.
No, wow, interesting. Because they don't have a lot of Canadian. I mean, is there anyone at TriStar these days who fights for Bellator? Francis Carmon. That's right. Yeah, you didn't ask him.
Yeah. Well, I believe we're managed under the same people, so my management had a pretty good idea. And plus, I mean, I met with the people and I seen the product, so I didn't really have too much to ask.
Right. And was there any other promotion that kind of came at you strong that you were considering as well?
Bellator and UFC were my top choices.
Okay, you didn't want to consider anywhere else because I heard there were others that really wanted to sign you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think ONE FC took a crack at it, but it wasn't. They weren't in the ballpark.
Do you leave the UFC a little disappointed that you never were champion? Does that bother you? Do you think that that will eat at you inside?
Sorry, say that again?
The fact that you never won the UFC belt, you were so close, but you didn't get it. Does that bother you? Like, do you feel like that will eat at you inside? Do you leave disappointed?
Yeah, but like I was saying, I'm young.
Yeah.
There's a long journey ahead of me. I got another 10, 15 years ahead of me in this game. I think people have seen me for a long time at the top, getting a lot of attention, so they think that I'm old school and I'm on my way out. But they're going to be very surprised when they see me down the road in 10 years still at the top of the game,
Mm.
But to answer your question, am I disappointed about, leaving the UFC and not having the belt? Yeah, I am. And, actually something right before we got on this conversation, something very interesting came up to me. We're going to have to see where it goes, but it has something to do with my title fight with Robbie. Some very interesting information that came about.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't really want to speak out too loud about it, but something that really grabbed my attention, and I think a lot of people are going to be very interested to hear about this if it actually is true. I have to do my research, but it could be potentially a very big thing.
Whoa!
And it pisses me off, and it pisses me right off to hear about it, to be honest, because I feel robbed. But I came in, I worked hard for that fight. I fought my heart out. And, I left everything in there. I left my soul. And, I really poured everything out there. I came in honest. And I always have my entire career. I don't play with no dirty drugs, any performance enhancers. That's something I don't believe in morally. I always believed in myself that if I worked hard, I trained hard, I worked my martial arts techniques, I could get to the top and I could be the best in the world. So the fact that whatever happened in there, if this is true, it pisses me right off to my core.
So, I mean, obviously, you may have heard that are you implying that you heard that he failed the drug test or something like that? Is that what you're saying?
Some test results came out 4 times higher than the limit.
For that fight or for his last fight?
My fight with him. But
how does this come out now? He's fought twice since.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it could be bullshit.
Okay.
But, I mean, we have to look into it. That's why I don't want to
Okay.
I don't want to start pointing fingers or anything. But I mean, it definitely. Look at their team's history. Look at that team's history. It makes me very suspicious. But I can't go out and start saying for sure without making my research and making sure that all this is true.
Good source?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. So I'm sure, I guess that kind of adds to the question about not winning the belt. How many fights have you signed for? Can you tell us that?
6.
6. Okay. And is this like collectively this I mean, I feel like, okay, let me ask you this. Why can't I ask you, why is it taboo for me to ask you how much you're getting paid when in every other sport, I know how much LeBron James is making, Carmelo Anthony, every other athlete, but why is it taboo in fighting?
Well, you know what? I think the details of the contract are confidential.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot of creativity and work on our behalf to come up with this kind of a deal, and I don't think you do understand exactly how much every other athlete is making, because there's a lot of undisclosed purses and things like that in deals and sports deals that you don't hear about. And I think it's proper that it's confidential,
Okay, fair enough. When you were on the show in March, you said you want to get paid fine. Like, you have a family now, you've put in a lot of work, you've taken damage, you want to get paid what you're worth. Do you feel like now you are getting paid what you're worth?
Yeah, I do. I feel very happy with what we have.
Were you worried at all that you weren't going to get paid what you're worth and that you were going to be forced to walk away?
No, I was very confident.
Even after how the fight went in June, you didn't feel like you hurt your negotiation power, your leverage, anything like that?
No, because of what I've done. I mean, I think people realize that everybody has their bad nights in this game, but and that I have many years of great potential. So I think people realize in the long run, my stock is going up.
So initially I was told that you're targeting a sort of January debut, but I think on Friday you said maybe the summer time you're targeting. So
yeah.
Why 1 year away?
I want to make sure my nose is completely healed. I didn't do that last year after the Robbie fight. I just kind of was too hungry to get back in there and start punching people and getting into sparring matches and stuff. I didn't go about it smart, So this time I got to take the proper time. I don't know if it'll be summer, but I have to be smart about it, and I have to lay off sparring,
Yeah.
I'm really going to tone that down in my career in general, because, I mean, I've been doing this since I was 14 years old, sparring full-grown men, so I've done thousands upon thousands of rounds. So I really just got to cool that down at this point in my career.
How is your nose now?
Feels great. I mean, actually, it was really, if you look at the pictures before the Steven fight, it was crooked. Steven actually straightened it out for me, so thank you, Steven.
What went wrong there, in your opinion? Like, why couldn't you figure him out in that fight?
I think it wasn't a fact of not figuring him out. I think I just got stuck in a rhythm with the way I was training, and I didn't adapt to a style that I feel that was myself. I've been for so many years I've been trying to learn this, trying to learn that, and be so unique every single time. Where from now on, I'm going in with the, how I was in my early career. Like I have a certain style that fits me. A pressure, a system that that works with my body and my mind and stuff. So that intensity and that pressure and I'm going to be working on those skills rather than developing a brand new set of skills every time I step in the fight. Even though it has boosted my skill set majorly, but I also have to be true to myself and be true to the fighter that I am. I think you're going to see a more consistent fighter.
For a guy who was saying that maybe he wanted a little more love, what was it like on Friday when it felt like you were sort of the belle of the ball and everyone's excited about you, your first day at school, kind of? Like, what kind of reception did you get, and how much did you enjoy it?
I thought it was awesome. Everybody was really nice and, welcoming all the fighters. It was different. You go over there and everyone's like, welcome to the family.
Yeah.
And I felt like that, It feels like just warmer, a better vibe comes off of them. It almost feels like how it used to be. I guess I don't know how I could say that, but like there's a bit of that old school fight show vibe that's going on. Like doesn't feel quite what I've been used to at the UFC for the last 2-3 years.
and you get the big reception, the big introduction with the Canadian flag, which was pretty damn awesome. And you hint that you are curious or you're interested in fighting at 185 as well. That's on the radar?
Ariel?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my Bluetooth cut out.
Oh, no problem. I was just asking, is 185 like an immediate option for you? Because you hinted at that in the interview on television.
100%. My plans for Bellator, my recent plans or whatever, it's gonna be, I'm gonna fight for that 170-pound belt, and I'm gonna take that off Korshkov or however you say his name, and I'm going up to 185, and I'm taking that too.
Damn.
I'm very focused on this. I want to be a 2-division champion. I wanna do their tournaments. I want to do the whole thing. So it's gonna be an exciting time.
Have you been told that your first fight will be for the belt?
No.
Okay, but that's what you'd like. You feel like you deserve that.
Yeah, it's gonna happen though.
Okay. Let's end on this, Rory. Your first loss in the UFC was to Carlos Condit in Vancouver. And I couldn't help but kind of feel like there was some, I don't know, it was just kind of strange how on the weekend that you signed with Bellator, there's Carlos Condit fighting in Vancouver, losing, and now kind of questioning his career. I'm wondering if you saw that and what your emotions were seeing that, because I know how much you wanted to get that fight against him, the rematch, and never got it. What did you think when you saw all of that?
Yeah, could you imagine if we had the rematch there in Vancouver? It would have been pretty cool, huh?
Yes, it would have been great.
I thought that would have been awesome, but no, I knew that fight was going to be dangerous on both sides. Damian's one of those guys that he can really, he could put anybody away in the division. I believe I'm the only 170er that really stuck it to him. If I'm not, I don't know, am I wrong there?
He has 2 losses at 170, but I think that's a fair assessment. And also, by the way,
who else beat him?
His last loss was to you.
Yeah.
Jake Shields beat him. Jake Shields beat him. And him and Tyrone, yes, that's right.
Oh, Jake Shields beat him. That's right. It was a close fight.
It was a close fight. Your fight was a lot more one-sided.
That. Yeah, okay, I remember that fight. Well, yeah, Damian's one of those guys, he can make you look really bad fast, He's a very unique style to adapt to. You actually you have to do some tricky things to stay away from his strengths.
Did you feel for Carlos, seeing him sort of talk about the end?
I didn't actually see his interview, but I can only imagine, especially after his loss with Robbie. I did see how he was speaking after, and he seems like he might be at the end of his career. He keeps questioning whether he should still be doing this. I have a lot of respect for Carlos. He taught me one of the most important lessons in my career, a very humbling experience, and I wish him all the best. I still think he's a very dangerous fighter in the division. But with this game, you can only do it if your heart is in it, and your mind is in it, because it takes everything to be at the top in this game.
Well, I wish you the best, Rory. What exciting news this is for you and your family. Congratulations on signing with Bellator. Hopefully they'll bring more events to Canada. I know a lot of your fans are wanting that.
100% we're coming to Canada. And like I was tweeting yesterday, these shows are going to be big.
Okay.
It's not going to be, this is going to be a legit show. You're going to go there, and it's going to be an experience. You're going to be talking about it on the car ride home, and the next day, wow, that was an amazing show. I can't wait for the next one. And I could guarantee you, I'm going to be putting on a strong fight game when I come out there for Bellator. I'm going to be dropping people like flies out there. Coming forward and bringing the action. Without a doubt, people are going to be going crazy.
Wow. Rejuvenated Rory MacDonald. I like it very much. I could sense the ambition and the confidence in your voice. It's great to hear. Thank you so much, Rory. Congratulations. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it very much.
All right, thanks, Ariel. See you later.
There he is, Rory MacDonald. How about that? Wow. You can feel it in his voice, right? There's nothing like a fired up Rory MacDonald. Okay, congratulations to him. Let's move along. The UFC train rolls along on Saturday. They are in Hamburg, and the main event is one that we have been talking about for over a decade. It's Andrei Arlovski against Josh Barnett. Main event. How about this? Old school fans love this. Josh Barnett joining us right now via the magic of Skype. I do believe there he is. Josh, how are you?
Hallo Ariel. Ich bin Hamburg, Deutschland.
Oh, wow. Do you speak German?
Yeah, no.
No.
In fact, what little German I can remember from high school, it gets overtaken by the urge to speak Japanese to German people. And in this day and age, I don't think it would go over as well. World War II jokes.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's stay away from that. Before I actually start the interview, I want to tell everyone, pay close attention to this conversation with Josh, because afterwards, New York Rick is going to ask you a trivia question. The first person to get it right, based off of what Josh says in this interview, is going to get a signed DVD copy of Never Back Down, No Surrender, right? There it is. There it is.
Yeah. And I will actually pull out the liner.
Oh my.
Sign it, Well, I mean, this is the way to do it. This is like the legit.
The certificate.
Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
You could, yeah. I'm going to have it notarized, and I'll file the form in triplicate. It'll be absolutely official.
Holy moly, just did it on the air.
Yeah. And you know what? I just completely devalued your DVD for nothing.
No, this is great. I think it just shot up.
Completely free of charge.
I think that our man New York Rick is going to rig the competition, because he told me he's a massive fan of this franchise. He sort of marked out when I told him yes. So we'll see what happens.
Into teenage coming of age stories, I see. In and around fighting.
Right.
Well, this one doesn't really have that, because we're all grown-ass men and it's rated R. There's boobs.
Oh.
And swearing.
Okay.
And the like.
There it is.
I hope it doesn't hurt his delicate sensibilities.
Okay, so stay tuned for that. Pay close attention. Now, you are in Hamburg. When did you get there?
I got here Friday. I believe.
How has it been thus far? How have the German people received you?
Yeah, ganz geil.
You play the part very well, if I may say.
Oh, you don't say. Yeah, could be a little German there. Could be a little German in you.
Do you have any German ancestry in your
now? Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Who? Which part of your family tree is German?
Mainly my dad's side, but my mother's side has some as well.
Has this been something on the bucket list to fight in Germany?
I mean, I'll pretty much fight anywhere. If the pay is right, I'll show up in your car park.
Okay.
In Toronto. The hell with it. But,
okay.
Coming to Germany, I've always wanted to spend time in Western Europe, and I've always wanted to do Northern Europe, Germany, Scandinavian countries, just to get a glimpse of the area, the people, the culture. And I hadn't had a chance to do that yet. So to be able to come over here, and all I have to do is beat up Andrei Arlovski, well, it's a dream come true.
True or false, you will actually be repping Germany on your fight kit this Saturday. Is that true?
It is true. They had one, they've got a really cool looking flag.
Yes.
An awesome eagle on it. And two, it also has to do with, not only is it because I have a lot of German blood in my veins, but the color scheme works out a whole lot better too. I know that they're starting to personalize things to a degree, but coming from a guy that used to make all of his own stuff, this Reebok thing, as much as I've actually found no issue with the gear and working with the people. I designed everything to fit me, to be the colors I want them to be, everything the way I want it. So to lose that bit of individualism has been a bit of a struggle.
Does it feel like a piece of you kind of dies when you can't put your personal touch on things?
If there was any soul left, maybe.
Oh. Now, if this were pro wrestling, is this kind of like...
If it were.
Yes. Is this like your version of the cheap pop to go with the local flag?
It is a cheap pop. I will totally own up to it. Yes, it's a cheap pop. But I do have I have ties to it,
Fair enough.
Bloodlines in any case. And we all, Germans, they loved Odin too. They're basically all the same god structures as Sweden and Norway and the likes, and Denmark.
Right.
it's not like showing up in Philly and just wearing a Flyers jersey as you walk out to the ring. Now that's a real cheap pop.
Right.
This is a somewhat cheap pop.
Subtle. And he's European, so you're kind of trying. I wonder who will be the baby face. Who will be you're always the baby face in my eyes, even though you kind of moved away from that moniker.
I don't know how Germans and Belarusians get on.
Sure.
Could be that they're like, well, we spend all the same money, so that makes us buddies. Or, although I don't even know if Belarus is in the EU. But and if it's not, what is a Belarusian form of currency? Chicken feet? I don't know.
Wow, this is all stuff that we didn't expect to be talking about, but this is why we love speaking to you.
So we'll see. Come weigh-ins, I guess that'll give me a bit of a glimpse. But, I can say that I'm already feeling a bit of the European notion and culture kind of ingraining itself in my person.
Okay. What do you mean?
Yeah. So today I went to the sauna here at the hotel, and it is European. And not even just talking about the bathroom, but the rest of it. So, you go out there, you strip down naked, and you've got your saunas, your wet saunas, your dry saunas, all pretty typical.
Yeah.
But it's nude co-ed.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Wow. How many people were there?
Surprisingly, the fact that they even let me in at all is incredible.
Why?
And that anyone bothered to get into the sauna with me, even better still.
Why can't you go in there?
I don't like to get into legal discussions.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
On air.
All right.
My lawyer has advised me to not speak about this, but nonetheless, it was a very relaxing time had by all, I imagine. I remembered to hydrate afterwards. We got 2 girls on this card too, and if they're going to be, I'm going to assume they're staying in the same hotel as us.
Yes.
And all these fighters are going to be cutting weight. I just can't wait to see how that goes.
You don't have to strip down, right? I mean, it's kind of optional.
No, you don't have to. I don't think there's anybody, forcing you at Schnitzel Point, but they're not threatening you with a really obnoxious-looking sausage.
Sure.
Do so. But nonetheless, I don't know. Even still, if there's people, let's say the girls are in bikinis, right, and there's just a bunch of Germans just running around. Just flopping everywhere left and right.
Right.
A good 75-year-old, that'd be good. Motivation to cut some weight, get out of there as soon as possible.
Now, where are we at mentally going into this fight? I like to take the temperature here because I watched this Battle Lines show that the UFC put out, which I thought was nicely produced. There wasn't a lot of yelling and screaming. It was just kind of chill, and it gave us great insight into where you're at and where Andre is at. But it did focus a lot on, your age and how long you've been in the UFC and him as well. Where are we at mentally as far as your career is concerned going into this fight?
Well, first off, I want to know, how are you taking the temperature here? Because that's really important information, to be perfectly honest. If we're talking in the armpit, that's cool. Even just, forehead to the hand, to the back of the hand to the forehead, I'm all right with that. But if we want to get more intimate, I don't know. You are my manager.
That's right. That's right.
I think I would prefer the hand of a certified technician.
Fair enough.
At least somebody that went to some DeVry Institute and got an X-ray lab technician degree. I'll accept that.
Okay.
Because with their irradiated hands, they got to be clean. My mental state is as good as it's been. I actually asked for this fight because I'm not the only old geezer on this thing. Andre, he's just as old as I am, essentially. And the fact that he's been knocked out 12 times means he's probably even older yet. I'm aiming to make it 13. But the camp went fantastically well. I'm sorry that there wasn't as much yelling and screaming as you must be used to in terms of UFC pre-fight footage.
I'm good.
I've not watched a lot of these, but that was my original motivation. Was I was asking the line producer, I'm like, how much yelling and screaming do you need for this?
I don't want any.
I want to make sure that my core market isn't disappointed. So,
I liked it. You were doing laundry. It was great. It got me really fired up to watch a fight.
It happens. I had a great camp. It went really fantastic. I brought in Tony Nelson, who's been one of my students and training partners for a few of these camps now, as well as Joel Sherritt, who I've been working with. I usually go to, when he was at the Air Force Academy, I'd head out there. I'd go to the Naval Academy. Now that he's a head coach of the wrestling team there, but I managed to pry him away to come out to California for a little bit and work with me. I've got Jamal Abdullah, who I have spent time with for the past few years as well. And Eric Hammer, as always. So it was just more of a matter of getting a bit more time with some of these guys, and I feel great. The mind feels fresh. I'm loving the German air. Yeah.
Is it annoying when people ask you about the state of your career? How many fights you have left? What's going on? Are you thinking about retiring? Is this an annoying question?
Is this your way of asking that question without actually asking?
No, it's not. But I just feel like after the Rothwell fight, you went on Twitter and there's, this is something that is discussed. The fight game, Carlos Condit is talking about it. We had Rashad Evans. This is a part of the game, right? As you know. And sometimes fighters stick around too long. Sometimes they leave early. It's always a fascinating part of the game. And I know you're a student of the game. Well, so I'm curious how you...
honestly, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be at this. Because I've been doing it for 20 years. So, I had one of the days I was in the gym, just getting a little cardio work in, what have you, and this kid comes up to me. I'm gonna assume Russian, but I know he could be from any number of Eastern European countries. So, no offense if he's watching.
Okay.
He comes up to me and he goes, "Oh man. I really like to shake your hand. It's really great to meet you. Man, I remember watching you fight way back in the day. I was just a little kid." I was like, "Oh, you don't say." You look 35, but, I guess it's just the facial hair. It's just to hit home that, I've been doing this that long. There are people that were children.
Yeah.
And I've said it jokingly before, but it is a truth that there are people that didn't even know what the hell the UFC was when I was fighting in it, and now they're in the UFC.
Yep.
So I've seen at least probably 2, heading on 3 generations of fighters come and go.
Other than getting paid, and that's a great motivation, what motivates you now to do this, to continue doing this?
Honestly, just to keep having the opportunity to come on the MMA Hour and talk to you, Ariel. I feel like there's not a whole lot at which a man can be motivated to even get out of bed in the morning, but knowing that light at the end of the tunnel, that luminescent glow from the screen on the other side of the Skype session, it does something. It hits you really deep, like almost to the prostate deep.
Oh, wow.
But somewhere in between.
See, I feel like this has been just what the doctor ordered for you, because the word on the street is you're in fight mode, you're getting all, serious and, you're focused. And now here you are talking to me. I feel like I've brightened your spirits up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that. I think that you're a little bit of a ray of sunshine in my life.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It must be all the shine off of that geld.
I know. Look at this thing. I've been sitting here for 2.5 hours.
In any case, I'm dead serious, man. I can't wait to get out there and fight. This is just as the time ticks down, it seems to just be taking forever. It seems like as if every day was the last day and just the same as before. But I do know that, fight time is around the corner. So all things are going as scheduled.
How would you assess right now Andrei Arlovsky's skills? Where's he at in your opinion?
I don't know. I really don't. He's done so much over so long of a career, and everybody has witnessed his talent time and time again. But I'd like to think that whatever he possesses now is not going to be good enough, and to say that whatever he had then was never going to be good enough. But I have to go out there and implement my will upon him. But knowing how tough Andrei Arlovski is meant that I had to train incredibly hard. I had to keep a lot of things in mind while I'm training to perfect my approach towards this fight, because he is not someone to take lightly, and he isn't anybody to underestimate. So I have ultimate faith in what I've done and who I am and what I possess to go into that cage. But knowing that, it doesn't diminish the fact of how dangerous an opponent Andrei Arlovski is. You know, he's coming off of 2 losses, but like people often say, it's like the cornered animal.
I still feel you win a couple, you're right. Like the heavyweight division is so unpredictable that you're still very much in that title chase. Do you even think about the title anymore?
No, I just think about winning.
Yeah.
Winning is really all that matters.
Yeah.
I don't need to chase titles because I've fought in so many title fights and so many title fight level matches that if somebody thinks that I need to give them a reason to give me a shot at any belt in the world, then clearly they don't know what they're talking about as far as MMA. So I'm ready to fight anybody with any belt anywhere in the world. And this fight could be a title fight in the UFC. It could be a title fight anywhere. It just so happens that it's not, but it is the main event. And I'm hoping that Andre is a much nicer guy than Roy Nelson. And if I happen to be winning, he actually lets me finish him or something, so that we don't have to keep fighting out there. Because to be perfectly honest, he's a heavyweight too. So I don't know why the hell he would want to go 25 minutes if he didn't have to.
That's true. That's true. That's very inconsiderate on Roy's part.
Wasn't it though? Wasn't it?
Part of the reason why you like this fight, because it's sort of a throwback fight, because he represents an earlier period in the sport. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're one who appreciates that sort of thing, and this is something that had been building. So it kind of that adds a layer of intrigue to the fight. Is that why you like it so much?
The way I introduced this fight to the fan base out there was that this is UFC versus Pride.
Yeah.
He was the UFC hotshot while we were over in Pride. So this is one of those matchups that people would have wanted to have seen back in the day that never happened. So by having us get in there now, I know it's a bit after the fact at this point, and technically we are both UFC fighters. Not to mention the fact I was a UFC fighter before being a Pride fighter. But our ascent in the MMA world started at the same time. He was on the same card as I was in UFC 28 in Atlantic City at the Trump Taj Mahal. Here we are, come full circle. And I want to get in the ring with him. I want to challenge this guy that used to be considered unstoppable. Simple as that.
What do we have planned for fight week? Open workouts? Can you give us a taste? No Germans watch this, so anyone who attends will not know.
I have no idea if we even have an open workout.
Get the F out of here. Josh Barnett, part of a fight week, no open workout? What the hell is going on?
I'm not. Yeah, none of this is in my hands, by the way. I don't plan this stuff out. If it was my fight week, it would be a completely different thing. I mean, I'm sure we'd have like a great big blut, and we'd have a big feasting and all kinds of stuff, and we'd stomp around fires listening to
that'd be great.
Satanic black metal. It'd be great, but that's not what's going to happen. And I did see, however, a great fighter that he is, Carlos Condit, stealing my gimmick.
Oh yes.
And trying to pro wrestle up the open workout.
Yeah,
Come on now.
You didn't like that?
Yeah, but that's okay. My gimmicks have been stolen for years by people in the UFC. Cleaning the blood off and licking it, all that. You think BJ came up with that? No. I got in trouble over that. In fact, I mean, in a way, I got a talking to. sort of. I mean, Dana went to the press at the time, and people were completely aghast at me licking blood off of my fingers and gloves, and he said, I don't know if that's the kind of thing we really want in the UFC. It's gruesome and so on and so forth. But I guess I'm an inspiration to people, even in how they want to screw around in their open workouts.
Well, I hope that they rectify that. Hopefully they do something, because
rectify it. I barely knew her. Never mind.
All right. We will hope that they do something, because it's not a Josh Barnett fight if there's no open workout. There's got to be something.
Well, given the opportunity, I will be sure to,
maybe a run-in in the sauna with the naked people or something. Camera, just have Leland, break out the camera phone. Let's get something going on here, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm doing stuff with GoPro now as a content creator, so for sure, I've got like 4 of them. I mean, we could get it from pretty much every angle at this point.
Okay, I want that.
Yeah. There's probably a YouTube channel, or not YouTube. There's probably a website for that kind of thing, Ariel.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find your fix.
I will look into it. For now, I will let you go, Josh. Thank you very much. Guten Tag, is that German? I don't know.
This is, you could just say tschüss.
Okay, there you go. You know better than me. I wish you the best, my man. A pleasure, as always, to catch up with you. Thank you for the signed DVD. We'll be putting that out there in a second. Appreciate that. And we'll be watching this Saturday afternoon here in the United States live on Fight Pass. It's Josh Barnett versus Andrei Arlovski. And worth noting, a very, very good card. The return of Alexander Gustafsson, hasn't fought in around 11 months. Alir Latifi against Ryan Bader. I mean, there is a lot to like on this card, so do check that out.
Dalby.
Yes, Nick Dalby.
He's a great prospect. I love watching the karate action of Nick Dalby.
Yes, Denmark's own. So we appreciate it, and we'll be watching. Thank you, Josh. All the best to you.
See you.
There he is, Josh Barnett, stopping by live from Hamburg, Germany. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We've got some guests in-house. First, we're going to be joined in studio by the reigning, defending Bellator lightweight champion Michael Chandler is here. After that, we'll be joined by Luke Rockhold. How about this? This is incredible. This show is flying by, but we've got much more show to go. So in a minute, we are going to reconfigure this bad boy. We are going to be joined by Michael Chandler in studio. While we do that, here are a couple old school clips for you. First, the first time I ever spoke to Josh Barnett and Andrei Arlovski was at the Affliction 1 Media Day. That was when Arlovski uttered the now famous or infamous "House Taste My Pee-Pee" line. I also spoke to Barnett that day as well, so I thought we'd look back at July of 2008 when I spoke to them for the first time. Watch that. Y'all must have forgotten. Then we're back in studio right here on the MMA Hour with Bellator lightweight champion Michael Chandler. Ariel Helwani for MMARated.com, being joined by the babyface assassin, Josh Barnett. Josh, there was some trash talking going on with other fighters at the press conference. What was that all about?
That's not trash talking. That's just folks, having to deal with, denial of the truth of it. The thing is that most people don't get into trash talking situation with me because I'll just tear them up. If they want to play dozens, they want to talk about jokes, I got jokes. So I'm not worried about that. It's just, they should be happy that they had something to say other than I thank Affliction. I'm glad to be here. It's going to be a great fight. Thank you, everybody.
Well, in all seriousness, do you feel that you were put too low on the card?
I don't give a damn. As long as people are going to pay to see me fight, I know this. And they could put me at the top or they could put me first of the night. First of the night's kind of nice because then you get to beat the hell out of somebody and then just sit back, drink your pina coladas and watch the rest of the fireworks all go down. But, it's not a status thing for me. I mean, to hell with that. I'm a main event guy and everyone's going to see that when I fight.
A lot of people have always wanted to see you fight Fedor Emelianenko, and Tom Atencio, the VP of Affliction Entertainment, has said this is kind of like a tournament situation where the winners will advance to another show possibly in October. Do you think if you win, you'll get that shot against Fedor finally?
I have no idea. I haven't really thought anything about it. The only thing that matters to me is beating Pedro because he's the only one that's trying to knock me out that night. Fedor's not going to jump me from behind. In fact, if anything, I'll probably get him after my after party and we'll get a little tipsy over at Denver.
Can you invite me to the after party?
Go ahead and swing on by.
I thought I was going to get like VIP love.
It's tight space.
All right, well, let's talk about Pedro first off. I mean, this is a guy that you lost to in a fight that I'm sure you thought you were going to win. Everything was going in your favor, and then a flash knockout, so to speak. How long have you, I mean, since that night, several years ago, have you been dying to get this chance again?
I wake up in a cold sweat, screaming at the top of my lungs, Pedro! It haunts me. Nah, not really. It's 7 years ago. If anything, just like I tell all my other fighters, good or bad, if you go out there and you compete, there's going to be something you can take away from that that's going to help you become a better fighter. So I took away don't get knocked out, and that works for me.
And how about fighting in the United States? Because you've only fought twice in the last few years or so. Any difference in terms of preparation and all that, that you're, kind of in your backyard here? I know you're not from the California area, but it's a shorter flight than going to Japan.
Well, actually, I've been staying down here in Fullerton, so you might as well just add me to the OC's list of fighters down here. But the only thing about the difference here is I got less paperwork to deal with in Japan, and it's just a little easier to do everything. But a fight's a fight. I'm here to go. I'm licensed. I'm ready to smash, and the thing about the ring is it could happen anywhere. It's international. That ring is my nation. So wherever that's at, that's where I'm fighting.
All right, well, just promise me this. If you do, win on Saturday night and your star blows up here again in the United States, just stick with the pro wrestling, all right? Because I love that.
That's not going anywhere. This is pro wrestling. When I go out there and fight Pedro, that's pro wrestling. When I go over to IGF August 15th and take on whoever they can find to drudge up that's dumb enough to get in the ring with me, that's pro wrestling. Everything I do is pro wrestling. I am fighting for the entertainment of the fans. I'm going out there. I'm going to give everybody exactly what they came to see, a show, something to talk about, something to be entertained with, and to do the sort of things that only I'm capable of doing.
All right, well, he is the babyface assassin, Josh Barnett, and you can guarantee him one thing, that there will be some form of entertainment on Saturday night. Josh, best of luck to you.
Thanks, Ariel.
Ariel Helwani for MMARated.com, being joined by Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky. Andre, Saturday night, you against Big Ben Rothwell. How are you feeling just a couple of days out?
I'm very excited and I'm ready for the fight.
How has life after the UFC been treating you so far?
You know what, I not even think about, because I was busy with my training, and I can tell you after July 19th.
Do you feel different? I mean, in the last year you fought against Jake O'Brien. They put you on the undercard. Now you're being, put here, one of the top dogs, one of the big draws on the card. Do you feel loved more now?
To be honest, it's not really matter for me. I'm on a pay-per-view or not, but yeah, of course I'm very excited, and I fought for UFC almost 8 years. It was a tough decision for me, but now I'm with Affliction, I move on, and I'm cool.
Big Ben Rothwell's a guy who blew through the heavyweight division in the IFL. Now he's coming over and fighting a top 10 fighter such as yourself. Do you think that maybe his record was a little padded there because of some of the competition he faced in the IFL?
We will have an answer on July 19th, but I can tell you he's a tough guy. He's strong. He's a good striker, and I trained for this fight really hard, and we found out who's better on July 19th.
You talk about that training. You've enlisted the help of Freddie Roach, the world-famous boxing trainer. I give you much props for that, because I think it's a long time coming that an MMA fighter goes into the boxing world and gets some help with striking. How has it been working with Freddie thus far?
It was very exciting. I spent 3 weeks in LA, and Freddie helps me a lot, but I'm still training with my boxing coach in Chicago, Mike Garcia, and I have great team, great trainers. I'm happy.
He'll be in your corner, right, on Saturday?
He will.
And we've heard some rumors that you're going to be going into the world of boxing, but then we heard that it's not for sure yet, September 13th. Are you, in fact, going to be trying your hand at the sport of boxing?
Guys, first of all, I have to fight on July 19th, and we'll find out after.
But something you're thinking about?
We'll see.
Okay, I got to ask you this final question, though, because there was a lot of talk online. I'm sure you know about it. Tim Sylvia and your former ex-girlfriend. What was up with all that stuff?
You know what? I'm not interested, and it's his business. And if he did something with him, I just want to ask you, hey, Tim, how's taste my pee, okay?
All right.
We'll talk about Tim Sylvia.
It was a little soap opera-y, right?
I don't care.
All right. Well, strong words from Andre Arlovsky. Clearly, your mind is focused on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Best of luck.
On my fight, and then July 19th against Ben Russell.
Well, we may be seeing the return of the Pitbull on Saturday. Best of luck to you and continued success.
Thank you.
All right, how about that? Blast from the past. MMArated.com. Andre Arlovsky, Josh Barnett, that's back in 2008. Great stuff there. Okay, now let's move along. Here we are in studio with royalty, Bellator royalty, the reigning defending Bellator lightweight champion Michael Chandler in the house. How about this? Wow.
This is great.
This is something. You've been on the show many times before, but never in studio. What's it like?
Is
this the
really
culmination
cool.
of your career?
It's actually really cool. I guarantee that there's a lot of MMA fighters who have not seen this setup.
Yeah.
I mean, when we walked through here, you know, it was cool.
You were kind of like, wow, I finally made it. After all these
absolutely.
years.
This was
forget
that
the
breakout
belts,
moment right here.
Spike,
Forget the belts. Yeah,
Dave
forget
and
the
Buster's.
Yeah, this is the
it.
breakout moment.
What are you doing here in New York?
I'm here with Luke Rockhold
Yep.
and Robbie Lawler. We are shooting Adidas Combat Sports at Church Street Boxing. Just got done, still a little bit sweaty.
Okay.
Sweating
You were
on the way
working
up
out?
there. Yeah, I mean, we're doing all kinds of shots, hitting bags, and they have a lot of cool new gear coming out, a lot of new shirts and shorts and rash guards and spandex pants. And obviously Adidas is one of those brands that's been around. It's one of the most iconic brands in the world, but now they've been for the last year or two moving in that combat to sports direction.
Yep.
And lots of cool gear, lots of cool apparel. So it's cool. It's cool to be a part of it, and we're just shooting a big old photo shoot.
So you're sponsored by them now?
Yes.
Is this new?
No, I've been with them for about a year.
Okay.
So it's me and Luke, Robbie, Chris Algieri, a boxer.
That's right.
Clark Gracie, who's a BJJ guy, and a couple other guys. So
now, do you get the sense? I mean, you don't have to concern yourself with this, but the whole Reebok thing affects the UFC fighters. Adidas and Reebok are part of the same family.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't.
Owned by the same parent company.
Okay.
But do they have anything, as far as you're concerned, to do with each other?
Not that I know. Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, it's different. You know, I mean, all of these different licensing deals and all that kind of stuff. It's different. I mean, it's great gear. I use all the shin guards and the.
You use it in
gloves.
training.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it's a sponsorship thing, but I actually do prefer it. I mean, it's good gear. So, I didn't know that about the parent company, but it's cool to obviously in Bellator you can have whatever sponsors you want as long as they're not vulgar, the old school stuff that guys used to wear.
Yes.
And it's cool to see even two UFC guys who. Obviously, there's a lot of restrictions put on them when it comes to fight week and it comes to their fight shorts and all that kind of stuff. But, with our management, we've been able to get a great partnership with them, and it's a great company. Obviously, it's one of the most iconic brands in the world. So it's a cool deal.
Nothing against Reebok, but it is good to see some brands, especially blue chip ones like Adidas, still sticking around and sponsoring those guys, sponsoring all fighters. I like that very much. So you just came back from the OC. Yep. You were there. You were front and center. You were all over the place. Now, let me ask you this. The weigh-in's happening as a fighter, right? As a fighter, how do you feel about being there front and center holding the belt? Did you kind of, if I'm being honest, I felt like that wasn't the place for it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day.
Benson and Pitbull facing off.
Absolutely.
I get what they're doing, but don't you want to respect what's about to happen too?
Absolutely. And that was one of the things. They wanted to bring me out for the weigh-ins, and I was cool with it. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we do fight every single fight to get towards that belt.
Yep.
So I have the belt, and these guys had to win that fight to fight for it. So I was told to be out there.
Did you feel weird about it?
I mean, I think if I was in their shoes, Pitbull's talking all this trash about killing me and taking off my head, and then Benson's talking about getting the title shot and this and that. But I didn't expect them to really, I guess, acknowledge me there. I mean, they can't focus on me. They can't focus on the belt because they both of them had a tough fight in front of them, as we saw. And it was an interesting situation, but at the end of the day, I wasn't too far away, and so I made it close and held up the belt and showed them what they have a shot at possibly.
Considering what happened between, and I love that Michael took this.
I keep that close to me, just in case
you found it. I didn't even realize that it was here, and you found it. Among
I thought you were messing with me.
No, I swear.
Got this Benson Henderson doll right here, so I'm feeling it. I'm getting pumped up. I'm ready. He's staring at me. So
considering you're not fighting Pitbull, you're fighting Benson.
Yes, sir.
Considering what happened between you two back in June, were there any words exchanged? Anything happened there?
No, and I think under different circumstances, I think he would have been able to put his disgust on display.
Okay.
But like I said, he had to focus on that Benson Henderson fight. That's a very tough guy against a former UFC champion, and the only way that he will get to fight me is if he would have won that fight. And I think we can end up setting up a fight down the road because he obviously hates my guts. So
why does he hate your guts so much? What's not to like?
Allegedly, allegedly, I talked about his family. I think he took it personally. I think obviously you know, knocking out his brother pretty bad, you
Yeah.
know, and I told him I would, you know, I would kill him. I mean, I really do think if I stepped in the cage with him, I would tear him limb from limb, you know, and that's just the confidence that I have. And he's a puffed up 135 pounder. He's not even a 145 pounder,
Yeah.
you know, in my opinion. He's 5'2.5", and it's, you know, I don't know. But, I don't know. I think that fight will probably eventually happen, but I think he thought I talked about his family, and I think in his mind that meant like wife and kids and grandma and grandparents and that kind of stuff. But obviously just the Pitbull brothers.
Considering you say that he's a puffed up 135, or he was fighting a guy who in his last fight was fighting for the 170-pound title, do you think he bit off more than he could chew? And do you believe that may have led to the injury? It was pretty gruesome.
No, you know, I think the human body is, I mean, when it comes to the way that our bodies are made, I don't think there's much of a difference between the bone density of a 135 or 145 or 170 pounder. So I don't think the leg break actually had much to do with the size difference necessarily. You know, I think it was a badly timed kick and a well blocked kick. But I think he definitely bit off more than he could chew in that fight. Even though, I mean, if that fight keeps going the way it was going, I mean, I don't think Benson was winning the fight.
Yeah, because I thought he lost the first.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he was very inactive. You know, I think.
What do you make of that? Do you think he was gun shy after what happened in the last fight?
Possibly.
Didn't seem like himself, right?
True, but I will say, I mean, the only way that I think Benson loses that fight is possibly getting clipped with a really bad right hand, you know, a big right hand, because Pitbull has power. So I think implementing that game plan of pushing Pitbull, like chasing Pitbull around the cage and putting Pitbull up, cocked and ready on that back foot, ready to throw that right hand, he was putting himself in harm's way. But I think it was cool to see Benson actually be the aggressor. I think he took the back seat against Koreshkov, and Koreshkov crushed him. You know, and Koreshkov's a 6'2", 170-pound legitimate welterweight. And you know, we're going to see with Rory MacDonald coming over. I don't know if they fight next or what happens, but we're going to see how good Koreshkov is. I think, you know, I not to sit over here and toot the Bellator horn, but that guy in particular, I think he's a tough fighter. I think the fighter that we saw Ben Askren dismantle and make him look like, you know, a little child is not the same Koreshkov, especially against the guy who will stand and trade with him. So he's a very, very tough guy, and we'll see.
Okay, so you were there front row when they introduced Rory.
Yes, sir.
And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because you're kind of one of these OG Bellator guys now. It's crazy that the organization has been around so long that there can be such a thing.
Yeah, right.
To see a Rory MacDonald come out with the Canadian flags, the red carpet and all this is, you know, and this is a year where Benson comes over, Matt Mitrione comes over, now Rory, which you can make the case is the biggest one yet.
For sure.
What are you thinking?
I think it's great. You know, I don't know the details, obviously. I didn't even know he was going to get it announced that night. But, you know, I think, like he said there on the broadcast, he was made an offer that he could not refuse and that nobody could match. And that's kind of the trend. You know, you're seeing that now.
Yeah.
You know, there's pros and cons of both organizations, I'm sure. I can't attest to the UFC, fighting in the UFC. But, you know, he seems like he made the right decision for himself. And we'll see what happens. You know, the good thing for me is I think that's a fight that I could have in my future. I would definitely step up to 170 and let that fight happen. I want the biggest fights that Bellator has to offer, and I think Benson Henderson next. I still have unfinished business with Josh Thompson.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sitting at 190 right now, so wouldn't be too tiny of a welterweight. You know, whether it be for the belt or not for the belt. I mean, I want big fights. I want exciting fights, and I want fights that fans are going to put their eyeballs on. So.
Before I ask you about Josh, as you know, free agency has become a big thing this year. Rory, the latest example. But you decided not to test free agency.
Yeah.
Why?
Very similar to Rory. I think when you're made offers that are tough to refuse, it's, man, with me, I'm in a unique situation because I'm not just a Bellator guy. I am a guy who has one of the biggest trilogies in the sport staring me, you know, just breathing down my neck. That fight with Eddie Alvarez is going to happen. I don't know if it happens in Bellator. I don't know if it happens in the UFC. I don't know if it happens in World Series of Fighting or if it happens in his backyard in Philly. It's going to happen. That trilogy is going to happen, and that's something that people want to see. So I'm in that unique situation, and then you have, you know, you got that Conor McGregor fight, and you got those big fights. But for me, man, I've been with the company now for a long time, 6 years, and they've taken care of me. I've taken care of them. I've helped build the company. Here I am champion again. I'm about to, I think, dismantle one of the biggest names that we have in Benson Henderson and get another big fight against Josh. And the fights are getting bigger, and you can see that happening. And at the end of the day, I'm still just 30 years old. I just now have hit my prime. threw my first punch in my entire life at 22 years old.
Wow.
You know, so I've been in the sport for 8 years.
Yeah.
So I think the road that I have taken, I haven't taken any damage up until I started fighting, which was at 22. You know, so I've only been taking damage at the last 6-8 years. And you know, I have a lot of time left in this sport. So this last contract I signed wasn't for the rest of my career by any means.
How many fights left?
A few.
A few.
Why
don't you want to say?
I don't know.
Well, why
I know. We had this conversation.
Why in baseball, basketball?
Well,
why is it so taboo?
Let's just say I just signed a deal.
I'm not asking you for the amount. No. I'm just saying the number of fights, not the number, not the dollar amount.
Wait, what?
I'm not asking.
Yo, you're asking me for the number of fights.
Yeah, I'm not asking you for the dollars.
It's more than 3 and less than 8.
Okay.
There you go. That's good.
Okay, so I was in Atlanta for UFC 201, and Eddie Alvarez was doing a Q&A.
Okay.
And someone asked him about you. I don't remember what the question was, but I saw that you tweeted a little bit after, and you kind of took it as a compliment.
Absolutely.
I took it as an insult, what he was saying.
What did he say?
Let's
give the fans what he said.
I wish I had the damn clip.
Oh, no, I got it. He said that
you didn't want to test yourself.
Yeah, too bad he didn't want to sign with the UFC, and we could have made some magic or something. And I agree with him, but at the end of the day, Eddie, freaking protect your chin. Don't hold on to that belt.
Okay.
You know, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm 30 years old. He's been fighting since he was 18 years old. I'm still green in the sport.
Right.
And I'm just now hitting my stride. I'm just now hitting my full potential. And I feel like I have another 4, 5, 6 years left in the sport, a full potential, full bore ahead with power and speed and accuracy, and I'm getting better. So I at the end of the day, man, I got a long time left in the sport to make magic. And like I said, whether it happens in this organization, that organization, or in his backyard in Philly, that fight is going to happen. So I just hope he can hang on long enough to let it happen. So
I feel like in a weird way, you're the biggest Eddie Alvarez fan because the better he does, the better it makes you look.
True, but I mean, at the end of the day, if I can take my own pride out of it and I can just put on my fan hat, man, he's the kind of guy you need in this sport. You know, just the other day I was on Luke's show and we were talking about. I think that he beats Conor McGregor 9 times out of 10. You cannot ever count Conor out, but Eddie's got, I think, the full package. I think he's a very, very tough fighter, and you know, it definitely selfishly does well for my career if he does well. But at the end of the day, when you have shared the cage with somebody for almost 50 minutes and beat the tar out of each other for you and the fans' enjoyment. And you know why he fights? He fights to put food on the table for his wife and his kids. And he, moved back to Philly to be with his wife and kids, to make the sacrifices to take care of the people that are most important to him. And that's the kind of guy, it speaks volumes about a person. So I am a fan of him. I'm a fan of his fight style. I want to fight him again. He wants to fight me. I just saw him, a couple months ago at Black Zillions. It's a, hey, what's up? How you doing? Wish you the best. Stay healthy. God bless you.
Were you in the same gym training?
He came down for like I don't know, some kind of bachelor party or something.
Okay.
And he was just in town for 2 days and worked out with somebody. He was there, and I was hitting mitts or something, and all of a sudden
oh wow!
I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and it was, it was kind of like one of those, "What's up, bro?" Like I'm supposed to freaking hate you, but actually, it's not a big deal, whatever. And if I ever have to fight you again, we know what's going to happen. He knows what's going to happen, and that's that's just the confidence I have in that situation.
So I believe every word you said. For some reason, I feel like you don't feel the same way about Will Brooks. Why? What's the difference?
Difference?
You shared the cage with him?
Man, I could name about 500 different things, but Eddie is a stand-up guy, and
Will's not.
I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny. I just know that I've, Man, I'm not in a position to say anything good or bad about him.
Okay.
I think, I've lost to the guy. I can sit here and humble myself and say I have losses on my record to that man. So anything I say can be taken out of context, or it can be taken as saltiness, or it can be taken as, of course I'm upset at him because I lost to him. So it's one of those things that you don't really get into. But I think, he has a reputation. I have mine, and you have yours, and Benson has his.
How do you feel about this man?
Man, you can't say a bad thing about him. So it's tough. It's tough to sell a fight against a guy who, I think he's a good man. I think he's a good person. I think he's probably a great father and a great husband. When it comes to stepping into the cage, I think he can't hang with me. I think he's a former UFC champion. did great. Has wins over one of the biggest names in MMA right now, Nate Diaz. So does Josh Thompson. So I mean, I have some cool fights ahead of me. I'm excited for November 19th in San Jose on Spike TV. Stepping in the cage against a guy that I've wanted to fight for a long time. Back in 2011, 12, 13, when I was the champion, he was a champion in the UFC. So they were always talking, okay, Benson's number 1, Chandler was number 3 or 5, and who's the best champion? Now we finally get to see it. I think it's the perfect time for me. I think it's the wrong time for him. And it's going to be sweet to step in the cage with him.
Now, what happened with Josh? Because it seemed like that was the fight that you wanted first.
It is, but I think this is the fight that has presented itself.
Is he not available?
I don't think so. I told the guys, I told Bellator I want to fight Josh. We have some unfinished business. I moved all the way across the country away from my wife for 9 weeks, and just to get a phone call on a Friday night from Dave Martin, my manager, and that was one of the biggest letdowns of my life. And then I had to go back into training camp for 8 more weeks and spend a whole nother 2 months away from my wife. So I have some unfinished business, and he's a big name with some big wins over Nate Diaz and Strikeforce champion and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so I have some big fights ahead of me, and Josh will have his time. I mean, when he came over to this organization, he talked about fighting me, and he said my name, and he said, I want to fight Michael Chandler. So I hope he still feels that way. And even if he doesn't feel that way, he can have half my person to step into the cage. I don't care. I want that fight. Wow. So that's a big fight that I want. I want the Benson fight. And like I said, I'll pack on some pounds and go up and fight Rory too. So let's do it.
Without naming names, do you get a lot of people reach out? Because since you're one of the faces of Bellator, do you get a lot of people in other organizations reach out to you and say, what's it like over there? What's it like fighting for Coker? What's it like? Do you get a lot of people?
And I have one in mind that is just
always hitting you up.
No, but I spoke to him, and he has I think probably recently re-signed with his organization.
What the hell?
And he's getting underpaid probably, but whatever. I mean, I think
he was asking you for advice.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, because at the end of the day, I think.
Can I take a guess who it is, or you won't?
No,
say?
Don't take a guess, because I probably can't do it. Yeah. But I think I appreciate you not taking a guess. Okay. But I think it's one of those things where I feel like I'm kind of an approachable guy. I'm not the kind. I have an ego. I am confident in who I am. But at the end of the day, I love Bellator. I love what the UFC has done since 1993. I wouldn't be sitting here and being able to do what I do without the hard work that the UFC people have put in for the last 20-something years. But at the end of the day, we're the ones taking the punches. So at the end of the day, when it comes to Scott Coker and Dana White and that kind of stuff, do I take their side, or do I take the guy who is getting his face beat in for everyone's entertainment and has to scratch pennies? It's cool to see the direction that mixed martial arts is going, and we're making more money as fighters. And I want to see guys make more money, and selfishly, I want to see more guys come on over. I have confidence. When I signed this last deal, it wasn't just I'm so happy to be here, and maybe you can sign a top 20 guy. I said I want the biggest names in the sport. If I'm staying here and I'm signing for this new contract for however many fights or however many years it is, I want you guys to continue to sign big guys. And then they signed Benson, and now they signed Rory, who's not in my weight class, but he's still a possibility. I'm excited about it. So,
do you feel though that there's still a long way to go before you're paid what you're worth?
Man, what are we worth? I think it's tough because this sport is still in its infancy. I mean, it's not boxing. These boxing guys are making a ton of money, but I mean, now you see, Conor and Nate's last base purse before pay-per-view and stuff, it's unprecedented numbers. So when that glass ceiling keeps getting broke more and more and more times, and that number keeps getting higher and higher, it should increase that pay. But at the end of the day, I am also the kind of guy who I believe that I've worked extremely hard since I was 14 years old and made all the right decisions to be where I am right now. And there's other guys who are complaining about their pay who would probably be teaching jiu-jitsu at a school making, whatever, or a car mechanic or this. And there's certain guys that should not be complaining because they are given an opportunity to be put on a platform to be able to do this kind of stuff and make a great living and provide for their family. So it's mixed martial arts is a mixed bag of different people and different, different personalities and whatnot. And some of us have worked to get to where we are. We've all worked extremely hard to where we are, but at the end of the day, in 20 years, 30 years, how am I going to feel? How sharp am I going to be? What damage have I taken? What, knees and elbows and shoulders and back and all that kind of stuff? How is all that going to feel? So at the end of the day, I know I have confidence that when I lay my head at night, I'm doing what God called me to do. And I wake up and I train hard and hope for the best. So.
30 years ago, a great collegiate wrestler didn't have this avenue.
Absolutely.
Right? If MMA wasn't around, if there was no UFC and it didn't propel these other organizations to come about, what do you think you'd be doing after your college career?
You know, I think I'm in a way different spot when it comes to just self-education and just where I'm at mentally than I probably would have been if I would have went right into the workforce. Or, you know, when I graduated, I spent a year coaching at the University of Missouri. One of the most gratifying things in my life. You know, these 18-year-old kids come in, they got their whole life ahead of them. I'm this, 22-year-old guy just graduated from college and just wanted one more shot to throw on that black and gold singlet for Coach Smith. Even to this day, if I had an opportunity, sometimes I feel if I had an opportunity to walk away from this and be able to go wrestle one more year at Mizzou, it would be worth it, because it's college wrestling is amazing, So it was still one of the greatest experiences of my life, and it wasn't college; it was just the wrestling aspect of it. So, I think I would be around coaching, but I got a degree in personal finance, and I would probably be doing something along those lines. But I wouldn't be able to see myself sitting at a desk. I'd be just get a little antsy. I just took a vacation to Europe, and a week and a half into it, I'm just like ready to get back to training and business calls and trying to figure out the future and figure out what's up. So I'm just that kind of guy, and I think I would be doing something with wrestling coaching, but not full time, and something with finance or something like that. But I'm very glad that I get to do what I do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously you're very good at it. I follow you on Instagram, and where were you? I forget where you were in Europe. Where were you just?
We went to London for the Bellator show.
That's right.
Then we went to Rome and Venice and Italy, and then we went to Santorini in Greece.
You and your wife.
Santorini and Athens in Greece.
This was just a vacation.
Just me and Bree. Yeah, that was our.
Your wife seems like she's a doctor or a nurse?
She's a physician assistant. So it's a lot more autonomy than a nurse. I mean, but it's not exactly a doctor. PAs, most of the time if you came into an ER right now and someone walked in with a white coat, you would most likely see a PA. The way that healthcare system is going right now, physician assistants have just as much autonomy as a doctor. They just have to have their stuff signed off on. So my wife sees people come in decapitated, broken arms, broken legs, crazy stuff, and she saves their lives with no quote unquote doctors around.
Okay.
They're there to fall on if need be, but I mean she is crazy. She's kind of a sick individual. She'll show me like a YouTube video and I'll almost puke.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff makes me a little queasy. But
this is the utmost compliment.
Oh boy.
I feel like she is not your typical fighter wife. She's very straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I'll freaking start crying right now. Yeah, chill out right now. No, but I mean, she's.
I'm giving her a compliment. She just seems like a very smart. I'm just looking at pictures here of you on your Instagram. It's just like I'm like, this is not your typical fighter wife. Yeah. What does she think of you doing this for a living?
Well, I mean, I think it does help that she sees literally nasty stuff coming through the ER, But she had never, the greatest thing about her is she was not an MMA fan, had never seen an MMA fight. Her and I first started talking, I had just fought Akihiro Gono, and I had sent her the video, and then her first fight ended up being, this is actually a pretty cool story, a pretty cool road. Actually not for her, but she came in and we get together, and she comes to my first fight against Dave Rickles, knock him out in 44 seconds, jump up in the cage, and I'm like, oh, great, and she's probably thinking, man, this is great. This is easy. He's awesome. This is going to be awesome. And then the next 688 days, we did not share a win together. The next 688 days.
That was during your losing streak.
That was my losing streak. So,
oh my gosh.
So I broke her in with a 44-second, win, and then she was just with me, and just, man, for 688 days through the Alvarez loss, and then the injury before the Brooks fight, lost that fight, and then lost again to him, and then changing camps and just moving all over the place. And now I'm going to leave her again for Florida. And she's just, I think, all you young fighters who are looking for a woman, don't necessarily find someone who just supports you, but find somebody who supports themselves and they are okay on their own. I think that's what works out so well for us, is that she gets excited when I go to training camp, so she can focus on what she loves to do. She can focus on going to the ER. She can focus on her fitness. She can focus on her diet. She can focus on all that kind of stuff, because when I'm around, all she wants to do is serve me. She's an amazing person, an amazing support system, and we have cried through the losses, and we have been ecstatic through the wins. And she's when you find your helpmate, your soulmate, it's a cool thing. So
during that 688 days, did you ever think about stop fighting?
No, I don't think I ever thought about stopping fighting. I think I still knew that there was a calling on my life to do great things in this sport. And Man, I tell you, losing that first fight, you lose that confidence, and I think that's what happened. I never could have saw myself losing a fight. You know, I was 12-0 with 10 finishes and 7 of them in the first round, just running through people and ranked top 3, top 5 in the world, and one of them was finishing Eddie Alvarez. So it was hard to see how I could possibly lose, and then all of a sudden you lose, and you let that seed of doubt get planted in your head, and that thing will just fester and it'll grow, and those roots will grow strong if you don't chop that sucker down, dig it up, you know. And that's really what happened. And I think you lose a little bit of belief in yourself. You lose a little bit of belief in your abilities. You're questioning your training camp, or you're questioning this. But I never questioned whether or not I should be in this sport. But you know, that second loss to Will Brooks, man, getting, you know, TKO'd or whatever, you think, shoot, did those wars with Eddie and the wars with this and the wars with that, has that finally caught up? Do I have a chin anymore? And I absolutely do have a chin. You know, it was just one of those things. You get caught on the button and you dust yourself off and you know, cry like a baby and pull yourself back up and get back at it. So
I feel like those moments make you appreciate these moments now even more, right?
They do, you know, and it's so hard to see because, I mean, at the end of the day, if something bad happens to you, but something good comes of it, was it really a bad thing? You know, that's life's question. And so many bad things have happened in your career. So many bad things have happened in our career. But and for a moment, you can feel sorry for yourself, or for a moment, you can listen to the quote unquote haters, and you can buy into all that stuff. Oh, Chandler wasn't as good as he thought he was. Blah 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. And I did buy into it. And then, you know, just continued self-education is so important, man, and visualization and that kind of stuff. I graduated college in 2009, stopped learning for a couple of years, and then now if I'm not reading a book or reading an article or you know, joining this group or talking to this group or seeking wise counsel everywhere I possibly can, I'm really doing myself a disservice, because just because you're done with school, your traditional school, doesn't mean you can't continue to learn, and that learning breeds confidence, and that confidence breeds wins. And you know, here I am, and I feel better at 30 years old than I ever have. So,
have you ever done motivational speaking? I feel like you'd be very good at that.
I've thought about it.
You have that sort of vibe to you. You get people very excited and.
No, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. It's just coming out for real, though. You know,
you should consider it.
I guess. I mean, I am part of Zig. Have you heard of Zig Ziglar? I'm part of his.
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar was one of the greatest motivational, I think, guys of all time, and he's got so many books and so many audio tapes and that kind of stuff. So I spend a lot of time listening to him, a lot of time reading his book. I actually went to his Ziglar certified legacy course, and they have a essentials of public speaking and that kind of stuff. I think that's definitely something that's going to be in my future.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm done fighting, I want to be able to say I did the best that I could with what I had, and you know, I'm excited to kind of just level with people, because at the end of the day, it's cool that I'm a fighter and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just a human being who has gone through some ups and gone through some downs, and we're all just part of this one big human race, you know. So it's an interesting. It's just cool to be put on a platform and be able to do this kind of stuff. So.
Well, next for you is November 19th, Benson Henderson title fight.
Yes, sir.
The Shark Tank, SAP Center.
Yep.
That main event?
Yes.
Okay.
Main
Better
event,
be.
and then Michael Venom Page versus Fernando
Gonzalez.
Yes, Fernando or Francisco?
I think it's Fernando.
Fernando Gonzalez. So
like the 8th time they booked that fight. He keeps getting injured.
That's right. Yeah. So it'll be good, man. Anytime you share the same card as MVP, that'd be
and obviously they're going to stack the deck. That's Coker's, backyard.
Yeah.
So you're here with Luke Rockhold. We're up against the clock.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to say goodbye to you.
Okay.
But it's been because I know Luke the way he is. He's probably stewing back there. He's like, I want to talk. Where's my love? Where's my airtime?
Motivational stuff.
Yeah. But man, it's so great to have you in studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Anytime, you are welcome here.
All right,
and congrats on all your success. And I can't wait for this fight.
Me too.
When you break it down like that, I forgot that you guys were champ at the same time.
Exact same time. So I've been studying to fight this guy right here.
I hope they use that as part of the.
I know. I was studying to fight this guy for a long time. So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I know him like the back of my hand, but I pretty much know him like the back of my hand. And and I think back when he was champion in the UFC, he would have had a better chance of beating me, and now not so much. So I'm just excited to go out there, get a finish, and hopefully Josh is next, and then Rory and Pitbull, and we got some big fights coming up.
Keep mentioning Rory, by the way. It's very
interesting. Man. I'm just
mentioning this.
I saw him. Let's sizing him up. I said, congrats on the signing. You deserve it, man. Everybody deserves a Bellator, red panty contract. I guess we're gonna start calling it a Bellator red panty contract.
That's right, a lifetime achievement award, so to speak.
Exactly.
But I'm very happy for you. Can't wait for that fight. Great stuff this weekend. You were all over the place, getting in there, the face-offs and all that.
Yeah, sure.
It was good. So thank you very much for coming in, and keep up repping that the three stripes over there.
Three stripe.
Where can people get that stuff?
It is acsgear.com.
Okay.
And, gear, apparel, all kinds of stuff. It's a great company. They've obviously Adidas has been around since the beginning of sports.
That is true. Yep.
So
Adi Dassler.
Adi Dassler.
That's the guy's name. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
You need to look up a little more. Okay.
Son of a.
You could bring in Luke, guys. We're going to do this change on the fly like a hockey game.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
And you guys will swap it up.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mike. All the best to you and your family. Here comes Luke Rockhold. There he is. Shut this place down.
Here we go.
We're doing it on the fly, Luke, so just jump.
Welcome to the team, Ariel.
Oh, what do I got here?
It's a great
Stay charged on the go.
Look at this. Luke Rockhold hooking me up with a, is this a portable battery, I believe?
Yes, thank you.
I could use one of those. Look at this. Mike, again, thank you very much. Safe travels. Enjoy New York City. Don't get in too much trouble. I'll tell your wife.
Yeah.
I know Luke over here can be a bad influence at times.
Alrighty, see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Chandler. There he goes, the Bellator lightweight champion. And here comes Luke Rockhold. How about this?
What's up, guys?
This
How
is
you
exciting.
Good
Welcome
to
back.
see you.
I'm very sweaty, so I don't want to shake your hand.
Germaphobe. I forgot.
I am. I like it. You're looking very California today with the shorts.
Casual. Just got a nice workout in. We had a photo shoot and worked out.
Are you here for the same reason?
Yeah, we have that, and then I got some other stuff next week too. I got Fashion Week, so.
Wait, you're staying here for a whole week? We can hang out. We can party.
Oh, I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that?
No,
Oh,
that's not my style.
Let me just tell the world, because this is happening on the fly. Luke Rockhold in studio now. There we go. Okay, so you were at the Adidas thing, right?
Yep.
How are they treating you there?
They're treating me well. Yeah.
A little bit different than his situation, because you fight for the UFC, right?
Yes.
Were you afraid that you were going to lose that deal once the Reebok deal came into play?
It just depends on what type of deal we would lose, you know.
Okay.
Because there's potential for a better deal.
Has it affected your deal at all?
It was too late to know, really.
Oh, okay.
They already they had knowledge of the deal happening, and so they were still adamant about signing us and making this deal happen. So it was cool to have. So now I can double dip.
Okay. So you don't mind?
I don't mind. I mean, I like being with Adidas.
Sure.
I'm stoked to be on board with the team and see where this goes. You know,
now, what is
Grapes? Grapes is our charging company.
You own this company?
Yeah, I got a
How
piece
about
of the company.
Look at you.
So we're doing some things. We're doing some things, and check us out. We got some
brand new.
What's that?
The company?
It's been around for a little bit. And we got a new series of product coming out, and so look for some good things from the Grapes.
Wow. Okay. Okay. There's a lot to discuss, but let's get the big news out right out of the way. Okay.
Right. Big news.
Well, I mean, you're all over the place on Friday. You know, I cover MMA for a living, but I can't ignore this stuff. Entertainment Tonight's talking about you. TMZ is talking about you. You're big news, my man. When I said that Luke Rockhold was going to be on this show, there was only one question that was asked of me. You know what that is, right? Let me see your pinky. Where's your hand?
What?
Let me see what's going on over there. Smiley face pinkies. What's going on over there?
There's no smiley face.
Let me see.
Look at that. There's no smiley face.
Oh, there it is. It's gone away. What's happened to you? Have you gone soft on us?
No, I'm going back to working out. You know.
Oh, okay.
Things don't last.
Wait, what happened? That's it?
Just fades so quickly. You know.
Wow. What a metaphor for life and love.
Weird how that works.
Are we being serious right now?
Halfway.
What happened? Wait a second. Can I just lay it out on the table?
What?
All these reports came out. TMZ put it out there. UFC.com put it out there, for God's sake.
Somebody told me they heard it on ESPN. Since when is ESPN?
They care about these things.
When are they acknowledging
love life? Yeah. This is big.
Yeah.
So it said Luke Rockhold is dating Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
And now you're saying it's no more 2 days later.
No, I never said that.
Oh, okay.
I said the tattoo is no more.
What was that? Because you put it out there, she put it out there. You weren't in the same picture, but it seemed like there was a lot of lovey-dovey stuff going on.
I don't know. A few of my friends have that tattoo too.
Oh, really? Is that true? What does this mean? Is this like the tear on someone's face, but this is the love version?
Just being happy in life, you know.
But it's not a real tattoo, or is it?
Does it rub off?
I don't know. What is that? That's not even a smiley face. It's just like 3 dots.
It was.
Okay. You went to a bad tattoo artist.
It just needs. I need to get the 5-year plan.
Is that your first tattoo? You don't have another one that I know of.
I got some couple weird tattoos.
Okay. Where are they? If you don't mind me asking.
I got one on my toe.
Oh, on your toe. Interesting.
Yeah.
Same spot, like underneath?
Close. No, it's on the side.
What is it?
It's a mustache.
It was. Rubbed off again.
Interesting.
Tattoos don't hold well on
Mustache
me.
on a toe, smiley face on a finger. You're a strange guy.
You only live once, you know.
That's right.
Just, do.
So are you off the market?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I'm not one to talk.
Okay.
I don't kiss and tell.
That's right.
I don't kiss and tell, but you never know what's going to happen in the future.
Are you happy?
I'm happy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Life's good.
Have you found love in the right place?
Jimmy's a nice girl.
Wow.
She's got a nice heart.
Big MMA fan.
Heart. Yeah, she's a big fan.
Trains
Have you seen her train? She
with Jay Glazer.
Rip some pads.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was like, damn.
You've trained with her. Did Jay Glazer set this up?
What are you
Please tell me
about?
no.
Jay did not. No.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not even here to talk about that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not doing my job if I don't ask you. I mean, UFC.com put it out there. Then it makes it part of my job.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they're
Nor
trying to
can
capitalize?
I confirm or deny.
Okay, fair enough. Do you feel like they're trying to capitalize on this? Like, it was weird to see UFC.com put it out, wasn't it?
It was interesting to hear all the PR team hit me up, and
all of a sudden,
that was like the best thing that ever happened to their day. Like their week, it was like everyone like blew me up. I was like, slow down.
Yeah, chill out. Trying to ruin this thing for you or what?
What? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they're trying to blow it up. You want to be private. It's your private life.
Whatever happens,
Okay.
Whatever is going on, I don't know. But
who leaked it?
I don't know.
Do you ever see Frozen, the movie?
I watch it all the time with my niece.
Let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
You know how many views that thing has on?
I had to sit there and I watch it. It puts her to like calms her every time. It's my
How old is she?
It's my go-to song. She's almost 2.
Funny how that works. 478 million views on YouTube.
I think that's how it happens because you just sit there and it's like a calming effect.
Of course,
for like young
play
kids.
it over and
so
over.
Like The Lion King.
That's right.
Yeah, Circle of Life. That was the
That's a
go-to
good one.
forever. Now you got Frozen, so you got to double stack.
Now, just curious because I've seen her hang out with Chris Weidman before. Are we no longer fans of his because of that? Like, has she changed sides?
She was an MMA fan, and she'd ran into Chris,
but now she has seen the light.
She has seen the light.
How's life? In all honesty,
it's good.
We've talked once post 199.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're getting back on track? Are you getting back to yourself? Are you over what happened in Inglewood that night?
You got to get over it.
Yeah.
That's the sport. I let my guard down. I did, prepared foolishly, and I went in there with a bad mindset, and I paid for it. I'll pick myself up. I'll rebuild myself like I always have, and I'll do what I need to do to get back on top. I know what I'm capable of, and so I just got to go out there and fight with the mindset that got me here, and you can't take anybody for granted. It was a mistake, and I won't make it again.
We talked to RDA at the top of the show, and he said that he's noticed a lot of people treat him differently since he lost to Alvarez. Have you noticed that as well?
I feel like it's a matter of the circle you keep.
Yeah,
of course. And I feel very comfortable in my circle. Everything's good. Of course, certain things could be better in certain respects, but.
Like what?
I'm doing well. I'm here next week for Fashion Week. I've got some big contracts that we're working up right now. And
what are you doing for Fashion Week?
I'm just meeting with some top brands and talking about some deals we could potentially do and jump into that market. So,
as far as modeling?
As far as modeling, yeah.
Look at you. Are you going to be walking the runway?
I'm about getting paid.
Yeah. You want to get paid?
I'm not walking runways, but I'll be at some of the shows for sure.
Front and center. Which brands are we talking about? Can you say, or is it a secret?
We'll keep it under the wraps, but we're talking the top tier brands.
Wow. When is Fashion Week?
It's going to start, I believe, the 7th, the 6th, 7th.
Okay. So are you going to stay here the whole time, or are you going to?
I'll be here. I'm going to go down and get some training. I got a charity in Charlotte, and I'm going to run down and get some training with Mr. Hooft down in Boca. So I'm going to go hang out there for a few days and then come back and get to work.
Now, you say you want to get paid. You're about getting paid. Is there more money to be made in that world than your world, or is it about double dipping? What are you thinking?
I'm a fighter at heart.
Yeah.
But I'm here to get paid, and so if there's more potential there, I'll take it. And we're talking big numbers. So
really,
I could laugh and let my body heal and wait for the time's right to come back and fight when it makes sense.
Huh? Because I'll be honest. I've heard of what they want to do as far as the middleweight division.
Yeah.
And it involves this city.
It does involve the city.
It involves sort of like a 4-man tournament, if you will.
Yeah.
Weidman, Jacare, you, Romero. How do you feel about
There's
these?
potential in that.
How do you feel about these ideas?
I feel like let's make it worth my while.
Yeah. Do you feel like things have changed since you lost to Bisping as far as the relationship with the UFC?
No, I have a good relationship with the UFC for sure. It's just they're always going to try to. It's business. They're going to make things to their advantage, of course.
Yeah.
Try to take advantage of certain things and put you in a place and do what they can. It's business. It's how it is. And guess what? I got my own business on the side, and I can stand my ground too. And I can take some time off, And I
Do you
can
want
make
it?
some money.
Do you want to take time off?
I prefer not to take too much
Oh.
time off, But I definitely want to fight. I want to get back to that title, and I want to get my shot. So it's about making the right move next and making it worth my while. I'm not just going to go out there and put my body on the line and when I can get paid that much more in this world.
Yeah.
So if they make it worth my while, I'd love to come back. This is what I love to do. I love to fight.
Yeah.
But it's got to make sense.
If the stars aligned and everything was cool, does November sound good to you? Like, is that a good time frame fighting MSG? Do you like that, or would you want a little more time?
November sounds great.
Okay.
I'd be okay with that.
But it has
But
to
at the
make
same
sense.
time, if I'm gonna go put my body and put off deals in this world, it's got to make sense in my world. I mean, if I'm gonna put down deals that are worth more than what I'm fighting for, and I'm avoiding a shoot or something I need to do, it just doesn't make sense. I'm gonna go beat my body down and put myself through hell. I love the reward at the end,
sure,
but the reward's got to be worth it.
Have you put off deals in the past for fighting that you feel like, man, I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake?
No, I haven't. My opportunities have grown, and I haven't had these.
They're coming now.
Yeah, it's coming more.
How did this start? I mean, we all know that you're a drop dead gorgeous individual. I mean, there's no denying that.
Some people approached me, and they, they said they could do some big things for me, and so I
how do you enter
I
that
dabble
world?
with that, and how do you enter it? You
get an agent.
There's a process. You get an
Okay.
agent. They have steps to kind of do what they want. Their master plan on making something happen, and we're on our way.
What does the captain of AKA Daniel Cormier say about all of this? I feel like he's gonna when he finds out that you're going into modeling, I don't know how he's gonna react to this.
DC has an idea.
He has an idea. What did he say? Like, I know, but in all honesty, have you talked to him about what's going on and, trying to get paid more and where you're at in your career? I mean, is it fair to say that you're sort of at a crossroads now? Is that an accurate statement?
I wouldn't say a crossroads
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
No, I'm just dabbling in a different market and supplementing and doing what I need to do. I'll fight soon, no doubt. But just, it's got to make sense.
No different than what he does for Fox, basically. Supplement his income, right? Just outside of the fighting world, it so happens.
That's what you got to do these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Would you prefer not to do that?
It's nice to not have to fight every day for a living.
Yeah.
So it is nice to get something a little on the lighter side, but I love fighting. I love getting in there, and I want to, but it's got.
You think you make seven figures in this world? Like, what are we talking? I know nothing about it.
Yeah, you can make
wow.
7 figures.
So like these magazines that my wife gets, Vogue and things like that, with these nice spreads, and you're on like some boat in the water, and you're not wearing much, and there's some woman like this. We're talking like high-end fashion stuff like that, right? Photo shoots.
Depends on who you're aligning yourself with.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to do any chintzy stuff.
Yeah, we
No,
wouldn't.
we're talking high end.
Go big or go home. That's how it's always been.
That's
with
what.
me, so. Hey,
have you thought about this in the past? Like, have you wanted to become a fashion model?
It hasn't been a big thought of mine. I've had some people try to mention it here and there, but the people who approached me had big plans and big,
So they came to
me with big ideas and
Interesting.
So they had high aspirations and told me what they potentially could do, and so I said, "Hey, let's go do this.
Let's do it." Post 199, they approached you.
Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing changed.
No.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know Alan Joban?
Yeah.
He's in that world.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to him?
I haven't really talked to him. I met him once.
Okay, you're not impressed with his game, right?
Might have similar representation.
Uh-oh. Is that good or bad? Because I feel like
with higher aspirations.
You have the higher aspiration? But because if they're both representing you, like how do
them?
Oh, okay, interesting. What is it like now that it's sort of this reality of Bisping fighting Hendo and they're doing press conferences? Do you see any of that, or do you block it all out?
I haven't seen it. I hear a little bit here and there from friends mentioning it.
Does it make you sick?
I just don't really.
It's kind of surreal. You see the press conference and Bisping standing there, and he's about to fight Dan Henderson for the belt. Like it feels like some sort of alternate universe that we're in.
It feels a little weird at times. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I just Bisping doing his thing, running his mouth, and Dan's staying cool. Somebody told me about like him just saying, "I'm gonna make you retire," and Dan's like, "I already tried to retire."
Yeah, he says
like,
that he's gonna retire, win or lose. Do you believe him?
Yeah, I do believe Dan.
Is that kind of crazy that they're giving him the title shot knowing that?
Yeah, I guess. That was surprised. Like that might deter them from making that choice.
Yeah, but
he stood firm to what he was saying, and they still granted him the shot. So good for Dan.
You know him. You've trained with him.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him since this fight has been made?
Yeah. I talked to him right like the day before it was being made.
Wow. About what?
About the fight.
About like fighting Bisping, or just about the whole weird circumstances?
About what they were potentially going to do, because it was all up in there. No one knew what.
What did you say about it? What did you tell him?
I just asked him what was going on.
Oh, you reached out to him?
No, we were hanging by the pool in Las Vegas together.
Okay.
And we were just talking like we normally do. Dan's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
It's like it's going to be open. We're not going to lie to each other.
Sure.
I'm on all supportive of him, and I hope he goes out there and puts this guy to sleep.
Will you help him prepare?
We'll see. I might go down there if I have time. I'm just a little busy right now. I'm bouncing all over the place. So
all this stuff.
But I've helped Dan many times. I've gone down there and I've trained with him. I'm very comfortable there and with all the people, and I know his family. And so if I have the opportunity, I'd go help him for sure.
Are you rooting for Dan not only because he's your friend, but if he wins, that means it vacates the title and sort of expedites things? Or do you want Bisping to keep the belt because then you could get the rematch for the belt? What are you thinking?
I'm on both sides. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Of course, I would love to fight Bisping. I would love to be
Nothing
the guy
more.
that beat him. Nothing.
That's the dream fight for you at this point? If you had your way, is that the number one?
I mean, it sounds appealing.
Yeah.
Going out there and getting to finish that one. You know, I put him away fairly easy the first time, and I got caught the second time, and so I'd love to go solidify, who the better fighter is. And so that would be nice, but I'm not going to hold to it. I'm not going to hold on to that and like make that be my dying desire, to have that fight. I hope Dan goes out there and wins. I'm a friend of Dan, and I don't really care if I get that as much. I'd rather have Dan go out there and put him to sleep. It'd be sweet both ways.
Why were you talking about Anderson Silva not that long ago?
It's a fight I've always wanted. It's a fight
even at this stage.
Even at this stage, I think he's still kept somewhat relevant in that fight. I think he still proved he's dangerous. He went in there and hung with DC.
Yeah.
Hurt DC a little bit in the fight, and DC couldn't finish him. So that's the light heavyweight champion right there. So it's
throwing shade on DC, huh?
No, I'm just saying he's still tough. I'm saying he's still tough. He's still out there.
On 3 days'
he
notice.
had a controversial fight with Bisping.
That's right.
So I go out there and put him away. I think that makes a big statement.
It's a big name.
And it's a fight he wanted. He called me out. Was on the strike force. I tried to make it happen, but they made me fight Vitor first, and so I got set back in that. And then and now the fight. Of course, Anderson's not going to be around for that much longer. And
so did
the
you
fight
ask?
I've always wanted.
Did you ask about it?
I inquired about it, and they want. They have other ideas. So
I feel like
I didn't hear him say anything back. So
I feel like
tried to push it.
This is the time to make the Jacare fight if everything makes sense financially. That's the fight everyone wants to see.
Yeah, me and Jacare had a great 5-round fight, and it makes a lot of sense. I want to go out there and I want to win a fight that's going to solidify my title shot.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight a guy and then have that other fight come and then there's a question mark who gets the title shot. That's stupid.
Yeah,
if I'm going to go out there and put my body on the line, I'm going to go fight and I'm going to go beat the guy so I get the shot.
Right.
I don't want there to be a question who gets what.
Right. So this scenario.
So everything's got to make sense.
Yeah. So what do you think happens?
I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think you'll fight in New York based on where things are right now?
We'll see.
Are you confident?
I'd love to fight in New York. It's a great stage. It's a great time to come back, but I'm not going to hold to it. It's not like... It's not everything to me. There'll be another New York event.
Of course.
I'm young. I'm healthy. I've got a long career ahead of me. So, wouldn't make sense.
If you get hot and heavy in this fashion world, fighting in New York could help that, right?
Might
not. Maybe they don't want you to fight. Are these people saying don't fight because it might mess up? You might get a cut or something like that.
Look, I've never been cut in any of my fights. I've fought the best guys in the world.
Headbutt, accidental. It happens.
Things happen. Yeah, of course. But there's no holding back. I'm gonna do what I do.
Okay, that hasn't been thrown out there. Like, we'd prefer if you don't fight if we're gonna get in business with you.
No. Fight. They're all for my fighting. They believe me as a fighter, and everybody else too. So
would it be fair to say you're putting things on pause right now as far as fighting is concerned?
I'm just looking to stack some cash.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been underpaid?
Yeah.
Even as champion?
I've gotten taken care of one time.
One time?
We'll see.
Which time was that?
We've made some pretty good money as champion. This year's been pretty damn good year.
But you only had one fight as champion, technically.
Technically, yeah. So I won the belt, and then I had championship fight. So
was that the time?
I've been taking care of one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm not completely stoked on the next.
Yeah, because it changes. You got pay-per-view points.
Things change.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's a strange thing with the sport.
We'll see how it all irons out. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for pay-per-views.
Oh, really? For $199?
Mm-hmm.
It takes that long?
It can, yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize it took as far as the numbers or the payment?
As far as payment.
Okay. Were you at 202?
I was at 202. Yeah, I was.
Were you in attendance or you were in Vegas?
It was at my friend's, a good friend of mine's bachelor party.
Oh.
And so we actually were up at the Hyde Lounge upstairs.
What were you guys doing? What was the main attraction of the bachelor party?
The main attraction of the bachelor party?
Yeah, what did you guys do? Like, what kind of debauchery did you get involved in?
I am not one to get in any kind of debauchery. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, is that what you do at bachelor parties? I mean,
we
not mine.
We had a good time. We hit the clubs.
Yeah.
So my friends managed Calvin Harris. We had a nice night there.
Calvin Harris, what's that? Is that a club?
He's a DJ.
Okay.
So we went to the club. We did everything that you could do in Vegas. We had 3 of the hangover suites.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
There's such a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, which hotel?
Yeah. Caesars.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, so it was pretty...
Piano and everything?
It was fun. Yeah.
Who do you think won the fight?
Connor. I didn't... We were up there, and I kind of lost...
Yeah, it's hard to score.
I stopped paying attention after the third because I thought it was going to be similar to the last time around, and I didn't realize Connor came back. Then I re-engaged myself in the field.
Right.
You're up there so high, so it's
right.
I'm not right there to do it. I was hanging out with a bunch of wild lunatics, and so I went back and watched the fight.
Oh,
and Connor took the 4th round, and he took the 2nd round. So Nate had chances to finish the fight. I think he looked even closer to finishing the fight than Connor did. But you can't. Connor won 1, 2, and 4. Nate's a good friend of mine, and I'm all for him. I thought it was over. I thought it was over after the 3rd. I thought it was easy. But
sure.
Connor showed heart, and he came back in the 4th, and he did his thing. So that was his dominant round, and then he had those 2 knockdowns in the 2nd. It was clearly he had the first 3 minutes of that round too.
Did you see their disclosed pay?
Yeah.
$3 and $2 million. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Yeah, imagine pay-per-views. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did they say? The early numbers on that one?
Oh, yeah. Better than 200.
Better than 200?
Yeah.
They're saying
more. 1.2-ish. That's what Dave Meltzer reported, but it's still a bit early. But they're saying it's the 3rd most ever behind 100, 196, and then 202. So that means Connor and Nate have 2 of the 3 highest. Is that insane?
When you got a good rivalry,
yeah.
Connor's done some amazing things in the sport. You can't take anything away from the guy.
You got a few good rivalries. At this point, what do we have? We have Weidman, we've got Jacare, we've got Bisping. That's 3 right there.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready to fight. Trust me. I'd love it. I like them all. All
right. Did you see Rory signed with Bellator?
I did. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Good for him.
How many fights do you have left on your contract?
I have a few.
So
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure you out right now. You're always.
I'm not going anywhere other than when dabbling in the modeling world. I'll hang with that, and I'll stack some chips over there for a while.
Okay, so one of those like tent events where I see like Anna Wintour and stuff. I'm going to see you sitting right next to her.
We'll see.
Wow. Okay.
We'll see.
All right. Well, once he checks his phone, I think it's time to go. So, Luke, you'll say goodbye. You've had enough. Anything else you want to say as far as the tabloids are concerned? Is it all BS? Are we off the market? What can we tell these people who are tuning in today to hear from you for the first time, breaking your silence on this show? Your favorite program?
My favorite program, my silence. I never thought I was silent, but you're just going to have to wait and see.
Okay. Love is a beautiful thing. Love is love. Well, I wish you the best.
It can be.
Let it go, Luke. Let it go.
Yeah.
There he is, Luke Rockhold. What's that?
Yeah. Wouldn't you like that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Syracuse, baby.
Keep up on your set here. I haven't seen it in a while.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Do you have a round 5 figurine?
Round 5 figurine? No, I don't actually.
Like these guys. They never made one?
No, they just stopped right at the time I was coming in.
Well, that's BS. Look at my guy, New York Rick. He puts a Vitor Belfort one up there just to piss you off. I mean, really? Come on, man.
I could care less.
All right.
Look at Brian Stanley. He's looking good over there.
He is looking good over there.
Got a nice haircut.
Tito Ortiz, got a little Carlos Condit. Did you watch the fights on Saturday?
I did, yeah.
What do you think of the main event? Damian Maia, he's something else, huh?
Damian Maia is a stud, yeah.
It's unbelievable watching this guy. How do people not appreciate him?
His only loss is to Jake, right?
Rory.
Damian?
Rory, yeah.
He lost to Rory too?
Yeah.
Okay.
UFC 170, I believe. Oh. Same card as DC versus Pat Cummins, that historic fight.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that?
He pieced him up on the feet, huh?
Actually, Rory beat him better than Jake beat him. Like, that was a more definitive win.
I kind of remember it now. It's coming back. Yeah, Damian's come back a long way. He just kind of has a different mindset now. You can see he's
amazing.
He's not going to mess around with it. There's no bullshit. He's going to come forward.
He's going for the finish.
Every time. And he's choking guys. He's not even on the neck. So
it's amazing, right?
He's very, very tough,
very strong,
very talented. And so that division, I mean, how do you deny the guy a title shot? I think how many has he won?
6 in a row. But Wonder Boy, I think he has 7, I believe.
Yeah, Wonder Boy's there too, of course. But you would imagine he's next, and don't really see many people stopping him.
Paige Vanzant, flying switch kick. You see that?
Oh my god!
The hell is that?
Oh my god!
Have you ever landed one of those? I feel like you have. Did you land one against Jacare?
I threw a couple against Jacare.
Yeah. But did you drop him?
No, I didn't drop him.
He's no Beck Rawlings.
I was wondering what was going on in that fight. She kept dancing around, and like on the outside, I didn't see that fight going that way. I thought she would engage and try to wear her down, and she was definitely behind, and she kept throwing these weird kicks. I'm like, what is she doing?
Amazing.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's pretty sweet.
And what do you think of Pettis at 145?
I think he looks great.
You do?
Yeah.
I thought he looked a little emaciated.
You think?
Look at his face. His ears were like sticking out. I don't know.
He fought good.
He fought good, but I mean, what kind of damage did he do to his body getting down to 145? I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like this whole weight cutting thing. Do away with it.
Yeah. They should just increase the weight classes. I don't know.
Put more in there.
Well, every 10 pounds, just like they do in the lower weight classes.
185, 175, 165, 155, 145.
Yeah, why does it have to jump?
Right.
Boxing has every 5 pounds.
Like Rashad Evans going from 205 to 185 is crazy to me. That's 20 pounds.
I don't know.
You don't see boxers do that.
Yeah. I wonder how big Rashad is right now. I'm going to go down to Boca and train with him.
Well, he just spoke to us. He's 217.
217 right now?
Yeah. You weren't listening earlier? He was on the show.
Rashad.
Yeah.
Come on.
But he says he loses.
Let's even this out a little bit.
He loses 6 pounds. Maybe he's a little less. He goes to 209, so maybe he's 215. He says he loses 6 pounds when he works out, but then he gains it back by the end of the night. Do you lose 6 pounds when you work out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It depends.
I wish I could lose 6 pounds.
Depends on the workout, for sure.
All right. Well, we will let you go. Great stuff. Keep us posted on the fashion.
Yeah, it'll be.
And thank you for this. I could use one of these.
Yeah, they're great.
I'm tweeting so much these days.
On the road, you gotta have a little extra juice on yourself. Great.
Interesting to note that noted anti-PED user Luke Rockhold is selling juice. I'm just
hey, gotta get your grapes in.
That's right. I like the name. What does it mean, by the way? Grapes.
Hey, actually, there was resveratrol in the grapes.
What
helps build your testosterone?
For real?
So naturally, you got to do what you can.
Look at you. Is that where it comes from?
Resveratrol, yeah, in red wine, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Can help release the hormone.
Okay.
Overnight, so
I like it.
Little things you have to kind of study up and know.
Yeah, you're very
keep
smart.
Up with all these cheaters.
15 hours of talk time, 12 hours of internet video use, 60 hours of audio playback. A fully charged grapes, chargers provide. Okay, I thought that was some sort of tagline.
Our next series is coming out too. We're gonna have a.
Why do you get into this?
Why not?
Yeah.
I know we had some friends and we had an avenue and it was a cool idea. We made it happen. So
watch the sales skyrocket after today.
We'll put you to the test.
This will be very worth your while.
So if this happens, then we'll drop some more some bombs on the show next time.
Why, you were holding back? Is that what you're saying?
Hey.
After today, you're getting a new UFC contract. You're getting a fashion deal. You and Demi are gonna go run off to somewhere. Hopefully, don't elope. I don't condone. And these are gonna skyrocket.
It's a pleasure, Ariel.
Yes, my hands are sweaty, so I'll do that to you. Thank you, Luke. We're actually going to keep the train moving along as you can walk out. We're going to do it like this.
All right, let's walk.
Look at this. There he goes, Luke Rockhold, making that walk, the walk of shame. Those are nice shorts, by the way. Those Adidas shorts. I like those. In all honesty, thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. All the best with the fashion stuff. There he goes, Luke Rockhold, the man, stopping by. Look at that. That was great. That was a lot of fun. Luke Rockhold, Michael Chandler in studio. Thank you to the guys over at Adidas and Dave Martin for hooking us up. I appreciate that greatly. I know a lot of people like to hear from New York Rick, so I wanted to have a word with him if he's around, if he's available.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is, Mr. New York Rick himself. Did we find a winner for No Surrender?
Immediately, we found a winner.
Who won?
It was our friend. I will tell you his name right now. Hold on.
What was the question, by the way? I didn't have a chance to read it.
So the question was, what did Josh Barnett posit that the currency in Belarus was?
Oh, okay.
And the answer was chicken feet.
Okay.
And our friend Nate Higgins is our winner.
Nate Higgins.
That's correct.
I feel like I've heard this name before.
He's a fan of the show. He's tweeted before. Yep.
Okay.
So
do you know what Calvin Harris is?
Yeah, he's a big DJ.
All right.
Come on. I don't listen to music, and I know Calvin Harris. I mean, I think he was linked to Taylor Swift at some point. I don't know. Paige, confirm? Yeah. Yes.
Taylor Swift.
Linked to Taylor Swift.
How about that? So we got Demi Lovato, we got Taylor Swift, all kinds of luminaries.
This is how we do on the MMA Hour.
Is there anything we need to touch on before we go? I know that you didn't get as much airtime. You have to understand, you're correct. Very disappointed today. He's like, oh, there's too many guests. There's not enough time for me. I want to talk about things. I want to show off my latest hairdo, whatever. Very upset. I mean,
that's why I appreciate you doing this.
He was not happy that we had some of the biggest names in the sport stopping by, begging us to be in studio. He wanted his airtime, so I wanted to make sure I got you at least a couple of minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So is there anything?
Yeah, maybe let's answer some questions.
Let's answer two.
Let's answer one.
Okay, fine, one.
And it's the only one that's really important at this point.
Okay.
Maya or Wonder Boy? Who's it going to be?
You're right. It's got to be, you know what? I think you got to go with Wonder Boy. See, I love this thing. Everyone's like, what have you done for me lately? Wonder Boy wins, like, oh, I give him a title shot. Maya wins, oh, I give him a title shot. It's kind of like what Max Holloway was referring to, right?
It's exactly what Max Holloway was referring to.
Give Wonder Boy the title shot if that's what we're going to do. Let GSP fight in Toronto. At this point, I guess Nick Diaz, whatever. And then let Maya wait.
That's what you say for GSP's return? Whatever.
Well, I mean, like
anybody.
Well, it's clear
whatever.
He's not getting the title shot, so we could just move on from that. Wonder Boy, Maya, and then there you go.
Maya doesn't deserve it?
More than Wonder Boy?
Yeah.
I feel like we already promised Wonder Boy the title shot. Like Dana White already went out and said it. Now, not taking anything away.
Yeah, Dana White says a lot of things.
He does say a lot of things. Can we talk about this thing with GSP for a second? I mean, is there any more annoying storyline, if you will? Not the right words, but, he continues to... It's like this game of chicken. You're not going to come back. I dare you to come back. You're never going to come back. Like, why does he keep saying this about GSP? A, doesn't GSP deserve a little more respect than that? And B, hasn't he made it crystal clear that he wants to return? Like, at this point,
yes, but
he's getting tested. He says he wants to come back. Like, what more does this guy have to do to actually gain your trust here on this one?
Well, he keeps saying he's going to come back, but I imagine the UFC hasn't gotten a fight for him yet. So if he wants to really, come back, then he should have a fight put together. Saying I'm going to come back, is one thing, but
you don't find that his responses as far as GSP's return to be a little strange?
I think both sides are playing it.
Why? I think GSP has been crystal clear. I think Dana White should come out and say, like, look, we would love to have GSP back. Are you kidding? Basically what Tom Wright said during the post-fight press conference on Saturday night. Like, it's up to George, but if he wants to come back, The door is open. We would love to have one of the greatest ever to come in.
Completely agree, and they keep opening the door for him. But if he wants to come back, then book to fight somebody.
Well, maybe they just can't figure that part out.
No, then
I think this idea that he's like playing possum.
No, GSP is not playing possum.
Yeah.
But he's also not. Who's he called out? Who's he trying to fight? Bisping? That's it? Like, who have we heard that's a realistic
Woodley,
fight?
he said he'd fight. Bisping, he said he'd fight. He said he'd fight Nick Diaz just last week to our own Mark Ramundi.
So-
I mean, if I'm
so
being honest,
100 guys.
he's actually called more people out than he's ever called out in his entire career.
Yeah, and so fight somebody. Let's see
What do you
it.
mean fight somebody? They have to damn book him.
Yeah, he has to sign. They have to sign.
No, well,
Let's get it
there's
done.
some contract issues there, but he's put his money where his mouth is, in my opinion,
No
because
doubt he's coming back.
He's gone into testing.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt he's coming back. There's
just-
no question there.
Enough. Also, DC not fighting Rumble. You got your wish? No way it's going to happen, by the way.
What? What do you mean?
Well, they're saying Rumble versus John Jones. John Jones has a lot of hurdles to get over.
Well, I mean, I'm not dying to see that either. As I
No, but
said,
I'm saying
nothing
it's
in
so-
this division
The
interests
whole
me.
thing is so bizarre. Like the obvious fight is DC versus Rumble. You can't talk about John Jones fights before he gets through USADA and the NAC. The NAC is the real wild card here.
This is true. Who knows how long he'll really be out? I mean, that division's a mess.
Cowboy signed a new deal.
Cowboy signed a new deal.
Nick Diaz is okay, by the way. Ronda Rousey not fighting in New York. Gunnar Nelson coming back against Dong Young Kim. All these things happened last week.
It was a big week.
It was a big week. Worth noting, we are off next Monday due to Labor Day. We're back next Tuesday, same time and place, correct?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, we are back due to Labor Day, so make note of that. I gave you an extra long show this week so that you can be okay on Monday while you miss us. Back Tuesday, and then Wednesday, how about it? Last thing, let's end on this. Wednesday, we're off to Cleveland, the land, which I found out on Saturday. People don't like when you call it the land. I'm sorry. CM Punk. It's actually happening.
Well,
Feelings?
now it is not after you just said that.
Feelings as we approach it? Thoughts, impressions?
The same that I've always thought. Why does anybody not want to see this happen? Like, why are people so
isn't
negative?
It's so annoying. He's not taking anyone's slot. No one was earmarked to be the
Right.
fourth fight on pay-per-view at UFC 203. Like, did you see the undercard on Saturday night? Come on. You know, it's crazy to me. And one thing that's interesting is, like, he's the complete opposite of his pro wrestling persona. Pro wrestling persona, he was brash, he was cocky, he was dropping pipe
Right.
bombs. He's calm, he's very humble, he's very down to earth. Like, he's not Mckee Gall is talking more smack about Punk than Punk is talking about him.
He's reserved. He's not the guy who's trying to get in front of the spotlight. People want to bring
They keep
him into
pushing
that.
it. Yeah. It's a very strange thing, but I find those who are holding on to this idea that it's sacrilege that he's fighting in the UFC to be, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, now you're just complaining to complain.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how it goes, but I'm not. I don't know if I like his odds.
Do you also notice that more people are pulling for him? Like, the longer this went, it actually ended up helping him because he became someone who a lot of people were rooting against, and now that's sort of turning the tide in his favor in a weird way.
Okay, this is truly the last question.
Yes.
But have people lost interest? It's been a very long time. Did they lose some people that were initially interested and now are saying, I don't even care anymore?
I think it lost a lot of momentum. I don't think it's as big as it was when he made the announcement at UFC 181. And kind of weird, that was the last time Pettis won via guillotine, or won, period. And then here he is, his teammate winning 2 weekends. It's just kind of weird how all these things are working out with Rory and all that. Anyway, certainly lost momentum, certainly not as big. I think come Saturday, September 10th, it will be a pretty big deal, and it will definitely boost the pay-per-view. How much? Who knows? He doesn't have the WWE pushing him like Brock did because of his relationship with him, but I think a lot of people will get behind the story. I think if you've missed the docu-series airing on FS1, and it's a shame it's only airing on FS1. I wish it was on like an FX or a Fox where it got more eyeballs, but so be it. I think you're missing out. It tells a great story. They've done a very good job with him, and they've also done, by the way, a great job with Mckee Gall. I think they've done a great job of propping him up, so if he wins, you've got something there. I think the promotion for this fight has been exceptional, so kudos for that.
All right, we're out of here.
All right, there you go. See ya. Again, Tuesday, back off next Monday. You can hit my music. What a fun Monday. This is the way to start the week, right? So much going on, so many fun things. Pleasure to do this show, as always. Look at that Wheaties box. Anthony Pettis back on track. You can feel the happiness just radiating off his body. So happy. Look at Paige Vanzant. What a moment that was. Didn't get a lot of time to talk about Jim Miller and Joe Lozon, but those two can fight 10 more times, and I don't think a lot of people would be upset. And of course, what more can be said about Damian Maia? The guy has reinvented himself in a weird way, sticking to his bread and butter, but he has certainly reinvented himself as a 170-pounder, had the 2-fight losing streak against Shields and Rory, and since then he's been undefeated and has taken very little damage in all of his fights. Virtually none. It's amazing. Anyhow, thank you very much to Paige Vanzant for stopping by. Great stuff from her. Again, congratulations on that incredible kick. Thank you very much to Rafael dos Anjos. Good luck to him on November 5th. Thank you very much to Rashad Evans. Outstanding stuff. If you missed it, do check out what Rashad Evans had to say. Thank you very much to AJ Mckee. Congrats to both him and his cousin, Joey Davis. Thank you very much to Max Holloway. Best of luck to him. Congratulations to Canada's own Rory MacDonald on his new contract. Good luck to Josh Barnett. Big fight this Saturday. Thank you very much to Michael Chandler and Luke Rockhold for stopping by in studio. Off on Monday, back on Tuesday. Same time and place. Until then, I say peace. Shabbat.